It's time for Around the Mage Table. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Frank, your host, joined by Technique. How you doing today, bud?
Good, man. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
and how about you, Scrapclaw? How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, enjoying your evening?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yep. How was your birthday, by the way? Sorry, Shawnee, I'm gonna just cover this topic real quick.
It was good. It was low key. Gonna do more celebrating this weekend, but
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Okay. And Shawnee, are you invited to the celebration?
Just like everything else in Scrap's life, I am not invited.
She was accusing us of getting jealous earlier. Are you jealous?
No, I'm all right with it. I want her to
Yeah,
hang out
jealous
with
you're not coming to my birthday.
I just, doing this with you is more than enough.
Well,
Okay.
we
Are you
got
so contentious?
we got a lot to cover today, so we're gonna jump straight into it, okay? And let me get my mouse here. So, MoP Remix is now officially a week old, right? No, just a little under a week because it came out on Thursday. I just want to get a quick gauge from you guys. How are you enjoying it so far? Shawnee, you were the one most excited, so why don't you kick us off?
I'm super enjoying it. I'm just taking my time, going through, watching every cutscene, still like doing every single quest that I've already done, and just having a good time.
So you're chewing on it. You're not rushing through it.
Yep.
What's your current
Definitely.
level?
I'm 36, and
Oh,
it's been fun.
all right.
Yeah,
I think you might be the lowest of all four of us.
That's all
Yeah.
right.
And you were the most
getting
excited.
The most enjoyment, and the most enjoyment's happening.
No, let's be honest. You're playing Diablo.
Well, what's really cutting into it is opening a new tattoo shop.
That's true. Yes,
So.
I saw your picture today of your new workspace. Looks great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Scrap. What about you?
Well, I thought I was also taking it slow and enjoying it, but I already have one level 70 and I'm starting another one.
Okay, so what was your first level 70?
I did a monk because it's pandas. I've never played a monk before. It's kind of like dumb melee, so it fits the vibe of the other characters I play. And I've never done Pandaland before. That's one expansion that I just completely skipped. So I'm doing all the quests, all the cutscenes, and I've only done 3 zones completely, and I'm level 70. So that's why I'm going to make another character, because I'm just going to pick up where that character left off so I can finish the story. I'm not trying to grind it out or anything. I just want to collect some mounts and transmogs and see what pandas have to offer.
We're going to talk about the second and third go around because there was some confusion going into MoP about how that cloak would work about your next tunes, and that seems to have not been entirely true. So we'll cover that in a second. And Technique, the man who said this isn't for me, like most things in WoW. How are you enjoying it?
Yeah, you hit it on the head, man. No, I'm having a decent time with it. It's like a good distraction from. Hey, it's hard to say. Is this addition to the game creating the lull in the actual game, or is it just a filler for the would have been a lull in the game anyway?
That's a great question, actually. There is some data that shows that. Okay, so we'll go down a little rabbit hole here about that answer. So there's someone on Reddit who tracks every week how many mythic dungeons are completed. And going into the final season, actually, it started off with the first 3 weeks being really strong. But we have not seen the final week 4, last week's numbers just yet. So that's going to be a huge tell. We can talk about maybe a little more next week, but a huge tell to see if people are being pulled away from the game due to Diablo, due to MoP Remix, due to anything else going on in the gaming world. We got the Elden Ring DLC coming out in like 3 weeks. That's going to be, I think, a huge deal for a lot of people who like to play WoW. So yeah, that very good question. I'm sure we'll see some data points about it next week.
Well, I can give you a data point right now. I've done 1 key this week, and that's kind of all I'm planning on doing this week.
I heard you say that last night. You said, "Yep, that's my key," and then you literally shut down the computer.
Yeah. I was actually like brainstorming this earlier before we started kind of pregame, and I was just thinking like, what was the reasoning behind like the developers wanting to do this little addition right now in week 4 of, I think it's week 4 of the, passive patch. I'm not a big fan of like
I think
throwaway content, like throwaway patches. Like if you're gonna do it, let's do it, is my opinion. But again, I know we're like Blizzard's in a strange place right now, so
it's definitely at 5.
Well, there was a lot of people like shouting, "Okay, Blizzard, but why Diablo 4 and this at the same time?" As well as you pointed out,
Diablo 4 needed it worse.
Season 4.
WoW did.
Well, yeah, but I mean, okay, so this runs till August. So May to August is what? Just we'll say 3 months. Let's say 3 months because there could be a little more of that, but 3 months worth of content, and it took Scrap and I under a week to level 70, and I don't even think like I grinded it.
Yeah, I didn't either. Same with like Plunderstorm though. That lasted like 2 months, and we beat it in a weekend.
Yeah, but we grinded that.
That we did grind
half of my
though.
content.
I
like,
love Plunderstorm.
Like, are you gaining subs for? Are people coming back to do this?
I'd
Just
say
kinda
Well,
probably,
actually,
yeah.
some people in our community somebody was talking about how they're not playing retail at all and they're just playing some pandas. Who
Well,
was
Okay.
that?
okay. We also, and I've just realized this as we're going, Kata launched on Monday this week as well.
Oh, true.
Right? And that
Yeah.
has big hype around it for a lot of people who, because Scrap,
Mhm.
you said it yourself, that was like one of your favorite expansions.
I love Cataclysm,
I got a couple
yes.
friends who are playing just that.
Yeah.
Like they just came back.
So
Oh,
there's
yeah,
And that
so
makes sense,
much
though.
going
That makes
on
a
right
little bit of
now.
sense.
What, to have Kata launch right now, though? In the middle of MoP Remix, in the middle of Season 4, in the middle of Diablo 4?
I think with the assumption that season 4 is a dud season, sure, it's a good launch time. And I would also argue, although I like Diablo and WoW, I don't think that like Diablo is a primary competitor for WoW players. Like
I
if
don't
you're
think
sub to
so.
WoW, you can still play Diablo. Like it's not going to necessarily like
I don't
pull you away from the
disagree,
game.
but I mean, as evidenced by, and you know, I'll refer to him again, Max, right, from the prevalent WoW streamer. He chose not to play MoP Remix when it launched, which probably cost him money because of the you know, stream viewers, to play Diablo 4. One, because he was having so much fun. So Shawnee, I'm sure you connect with that sentiment as well. He, like, this season is getting good reviews. But two, you got MoP Remix and Kata alongside each other, and I feel like that would pull in the same type of crowd to get the attention.
I'm curious. Diablo, you don't pay a sub for, right? You just bought it.
No, you don't.
Well, you could
Yeah,
you
so
could
it
through
does
Game
seem
Pass, but yeah.
It does seem a bit weird to launch Pandas, Kata, and Diablo 4 in like the
So,
same time
yeah,
because it's like,
Diablo
why not
Diablo
stagger it?
Diablo does a 3-month season.
Okay.
So they did push it back by a few weeks from the original launch date, but they've been doing 3 months every season.
That also
And they
seems
already
very
have
weird.
their next season planned.
Well,
So
won't in 3 months be War Within though? Is
yeah,
that about the time it'll be launching? Yeah.
maybe
Maybe a
August.
month
The new
before.
season for Diablo starts in August.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the rumors
not
are
super
that you'll
familiar.
see early September for War Within. I still think it'll be sooner, but
Yeah, I think based on how quickly they're rolling out Pandas, Cataclysm, like that, you know, there's gonna be, if people are finishing Pandas and Cataclysm, you know, within a month. I mean, Kata obviously goes longer.
Yeah.
But it's like, why, when I'm done with Pandas, when I'm sick of Kata, I'm not gonna go back to season 4 retail. It's gonna be dead. It's gonna be a ghost, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So I
So
think for me,
that
I'm
seems
just
weird.
playing it to get like my High Mountain gear, my High Mountain clothes.
Yeah.
Since I race
A
changed.
different kind of transmog run, but yeah.
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 And when I'm done, like I don't know, like you said, retail is probably gonna be ghost towny. Like it's end of the season. That's already kind of a ghosty season anyway. I might play some Diablo, and I think that's more likely what happens is like when Diablo launches its new season, it more likely is to pull from World of Warcraft's players at that time. Or excuse me, reverse that. When a new patch in WoW comes out, it's more likely to pull from Diablo temporarily than the other way around, just because like Diablo's not necessarily time based. Like you don't have to get
Well,
on and do it all right at launch.
seasons are. Yeah, you can get. I think the thing is, you can get done a season in the majority of a season in Diablo in like a week to 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you just do whenever you want.
Yeah, the thought is that this is like a once every 3 months for like a weekend if you're a hardcore player, for, you know, a non-hardcore player like the dad who's just trying to get some time off after the kids go to bed. It might take him like 3 weekends to do what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like, actually, as I think about this, like, maybe Blizzard doesn't even care if they're splintering their subscribers, because as long as they have subscribers,
They're getting subs.
as long as there's hype, right?
It does seem a bit weird to do Kata and Pandas at the same time,
Yeah.
because it seems like you should stagger it. When people are sick of Pandas, that's when you hit us with Kata. When people are sick of Kata, that's when you hit us with War Within. But I don't know. I don't know anything about, you know, how they make money and what's a good idea. I'm assuming they have people who are smarter than me doing it.
I don't think the Kata audience is the same as the retail audience.
But they
Like,
might be the same as the
maybe
Panda
some-
A bit of
audience.
it. I think a bit of it is.
I think the Kata audience and the Panda audience must be similar, because like I know that from people who are talking about playing Pandas that don't currently play retail, they're like, oh, I'm gonna level a character to catch up since I didn't play Dragonflight at all, so that maybe I can pop into War Within and see what it's all about. You know,
Yeah.
it's an easy gateway into retail for people who don't play retail. Maybe they just play classic and they're like, well, you know, if it's gonna be easy and there's all these cool rewards and I may as well.
And then I can
already
transfer
have
its
a sub.
character over to Dragonflight when War
Yeah,
Within
yeah,
comes
and
out.
I already have a sub, and it's like I didn't want to. I missed out on Dragonflight. I don't want to level now when it's gonna be slow. But now that I have pandas,
let me ask this question, y'all.
Audience.
Do you guys feel like it's good or bad that they're not letting people transition their? I mean, let's say only level 70s would be allowed to do it, but not letting people transition their level 70s from MoP into retail as soon as they want.
I think. So I'm a little bit disappointed because like I've been enjoying the monk and I kind of want to try it in like an actual key.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think a lot of people are there's some level of end game to Pandaria because obviously people are like farming their cloaks and stuff.
Transmog stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, but there are people who are trying to get their cloak up to do raids, and we're planning on raiding next week and stuff like that. So if you could transfer your characters right away, I think it would kill the end game of Pandaria, and it would kind of take the wind out of the sails of it. I know it's kind of like a shortened experience of an end game, but like there would be no end game if you could transfer your character right away, in my opinion.
But shouldn't you think the choice be up to the players anyways? Like, I mean, let's say they time gate it for 3 weeks, right? Like 3 weeks from now they say now you can do it.
That'd be cool. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. Like, if 2 months in, they're like, okay, you can transfer it now.
Yeah,
I would say that might give retail a little bit of a boost in the sales. Yeah. It's like, okay, now we want to gear up our panda characters to get ready for War Within.
Yeah.
But you want to gear it to get ready for War Within. Possibly get your profession set up, things like that.
Yeah.
Why not just dupe it over? Just have one of each.
I think you should be allowed to do it when you.
I mean, that's what they do with classic expansions, is that you can duplicate your classic character to like Burning Crusade, so you can still play in classic, but it costs money, doesn't it?
Whether it does or not, I mean, the technology exists, I guess.
I can't remember. I did it for one of them because I wanted to. I was playing with a friend in regular classic, and other people wanted to play Burning Crusade classic, and it was a small fee. I think it was like $10 or $20.
Yeah.
But that might be something they're introducing. It's like, oh hey, like you enjoying pandas? You want to dupe it to retail? Like do it now for $10-15. I'm sure a lot of people do that.
Yeah, but then I feel like you'd have the people out there who are flipping out saying, "Of course Blizzard does that,"
Well, those people aren't going to pay the $10, so what do they care for them?
Yeah, I guess not. All right. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the cloak, because I came into this thinking, okay, well, I can I did my invoker first, and I was like, okay, but if I get to like 200%, leveling experience on my cloak by the time I hit level 70, which I think right now I'm at like 170, and I didn't really chase after it. I was like, that's gonna be cool because then I can level another, druid I think I was gonna do next. But that's not how this works. The cloak, when you create a new character, is limited to only 150 of your main stat, 750 of stamina, no secondary stats, 150 versatility, sorry, that is a secondary stat, I should say, and then 100% only experience gain. So you can see an example of that on the screen right now. And I kind of am stumped by this. Everything else, like the main stats and the secondary stats, makes sense to a degree, because obviously you don't want to have like 5,000 stamina on a level 10 character. But why the experience gain cap? Because at that point then, what's the point of continuing to gather those threads at all? Because if I'm level 70, I don't need the experience gain at past
people are enjoying blowing up the raids. They're not just getting the experience gain, they're getting the stamina, the agility, everything.
Yeah. But there are threads that you get that are specifically tailored towards the experience gain. Now, granted, I didn't notice if at level 70 they convert into something else. But like, again, like once I hit that 100%, even if I go on my second tune now and start from 100%, now I'd be at like 270 compared to what I was at 170 with my other main, because that's like expected the same amount of threads. It's still only going to be capped at 100 for my third tune if that's what I want to do. And I just feel like I get the idea of maybe squashing it, but like, why always 100%? Maybe like you can retain up to 100% from each tune, so when you're on your third tune, you get a 200% gain. Like, I feel like that was part of the appeal, was this like, by the time I'm making my fourth character in this, I'm literally doing one quest and getting a level kind of thing.
I know I've been talking a lot, but I have an opinion on that.
Okay.
Just that I feel like it's already breakneck fast to get a level 70. Like I think I spent like definitely less than 15 hours, maybe like around 10, like casual, not really farming dungeons, just doing the quest line and like being able to dragonfly from spot to spot. It's quick as fuck. Like, and I'm level 70 and I'm not even halfway through the quest storyline, So if you start out with 100% experience gain, I mean, they need you to keep playing the game for your sub. Like, you're going to be able to, if you could keep getting 200%, 300%, 400% on these alts, it would be like, you'd stop playing it because you'd have nothing left to do. So I think 100% your experience gain is more than fair because it's already quick without that. You know?
hold on. Okay.
I agree.
Hold on.
Go
And I can understand that point. I'm not disagreeing with it, but I'm disagreeing for the sake of what Scrapclaw believes in. Because you're playing it for the campaign, right?
Yeah.
So you don't even have to make a new character to continue the campaign. You could still keep going.
I could, but I want to, like, it doesn't matter to me what character I'm playing, I guess.
Sure, which makes sense
so
logically.
I may as well, so I may as well just make another one and try something else out. Like, how different is a feral druid from
But then
a monk?
why does the leveling speed matter at that point then? For you?
Well, because I might have to start a third character to see the end of the story at this point.
Okay,
but matters.
But that sounds like it's a good
3 mobs and you're boosting a level, and you kill 6 more and you boost again. Like, dude, you're gonna spend more time in your damn talent tree.
Okay, hold on. Caveat. We're taking a sidetrack here because Technique said this was gonna be so stupid and easy, everything's falling over. Let's talk for a second how busted
I'm
this thing is.
one-shotting everything.
No, Scrap. What had happened in Mogushin Vaults last night?
Oh, when we did the heroic?
It's not
it was
that
badly
simple.
tuned.
Yes, it is badly tuned. I agree, but
it was badly tuned. It was
not
challenging.
everything's
it was
not a
poorly
pushover, right?
tuned.
It was challenging for sure.
Was it a mixed matched party?
It was a little mixed match, yeah.
Yeah, that would probably be part of the reason.
So have you not heard about this technique about what happens when you hit level 70?
Tell me the tea.
I just need to know. Do you know it or not?
Well, tell us. What do you mean?
Okay, so what originally happened, and I don't have a window open for right now, but my understanding is the average eye level of what people were hitting level 70 at was like, let's say 260, right? And from 260 to 370, again, I'm not certain of that number, but that's roughly what it was. Everything was tuned as if you were item level 370. Okay. Now, what they did is they went in and they smoothed that out from again, my arbitrary numbers of 260 to 370 so that it wasn't as chaotic. But we still were in that dungeon last night with that smooth hot fixed in, and it was still chaotic. Now, granted, there's some things I just don't simply understand. Like, how did we even do this in MoP? Because we were doing the first boss in Mogushin, is it Vaults or, the dungeon version, not the raid version. And the boss cast Cauterize on me, the healer.
It just 2 or 3 shot you. Yeah.
And it's 3 shot me, but there was no one there to save me. Like, there's
nobody could heal you. Well,
so,
you're also. I think you were the only level 70 in that run.
No,
so you were
Lippian
the
was
one
as well.
who was hurting.
And you,
okay.
And you were. No, I wasn't level 70.
No, I wasn't. I was like level 65.
Yeah, I hit level 70 this morning.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, point is that it wasn't as pushover as I thought. And honestly, even as I'm leveling, now granted, I'm leveling as a healer, so it's not necessarily a good DPS.
Frank, as somebody,
Go on. No.
Okay, I'll go on. As somebody who was also in that key, it didn't feel challenging. It felt poorly tuned. Because, like you said, the getting 2 shot by a mechanic that you're supposed to be able to do something about felt unfair.
I think like the biggest thing for me, and it probably, I don't know if it's matchmaking issue or if it's a tuning issue.
It's scaling. It's scaling is the issue.
But like it shouldn't have that big of a deal scaling if I would stop getting paired with like level 10 tanks and then all of a sudden if I'm level 40, it should try really hard to keep me in that same ballpark when it matchmakes.
And you wouldn't complain about the fact that you'd have an additional 10-minute wait?
I'd find something to complain about,
that was my point. So at least we covered that topic. We don't need to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like I said, I'd like to just know that they are at least trying to do that because it doesn't really feel like it.
We also
came in every time, and I just have random ass groups every time.
Are you healing? I'm
a healer, yeah.
Okay. That's why you're insta-queuing. I was gonna say DPS isn't insta-queuing, but when we came into this also, there was like, for example, I had the assumption because this is how it was on the PTR that going into looking for raid was going to be the fastest way to level because that's what it was in PTR, and that was definitely not the case. In fact, they spent the past week just kind of altering not only looking for raid, which they at first didn't have any bonus to really at all. Now they've added that you get a permanent bonus increase to your cloak, so at least there was some value in doing it. And then they started adding XP tokens to when you killed bosses. I don't think looking for raid had a lot of them, if at all. But the point was that they started adding stuff like that to normal and whatnot. And then they just started throwing spools of eternal thread, which you can see here on the screen, which essentially just gave you a ton of threads of stats for your crit, your mastery, your haste, and your experience, and your stam, etc. To the point where I came into day one thinking it was like 2,400 spools to get the top level achievement for your cloak. Has anyone else hit that yet? I know Shining Technique probably haven't, but Scrap, have you?
No, I'm not.
Did you get the transmogs for your back?
Yes, I just
Okay.
got them.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't have. There's something that comes after that, right? Or is that the last
No,
one?
I think that's the last one. Right,
Okay,
'cause
yeah, I got
level
that
12.
like at level 68.
Yeah.
Is when I got it.
And
Yeah.
and the impression was that it was going to take, because I don't think it's across all your characters. I think it's only one character qualifies. But the impression was that you're going to have to play like most of the raids to get to that achievement.
Oh.
But then they just started changing the tuning nod and saying, okay, well, people aren't happy with this, so let's just throw it at it, which I think is good. They're like just responding to what the players want at the moment. But it's just been nonstop tuning to the point where there was also that huge controversial bronze farm. So
Look at
I
that.
don't.
I love that thumbnail.
Yeah.
The frog.
So let's take you through the timeline of the bronze. And I understand the problem with the frog thing. So let's start with the frog. Frogs from the Timeless Isle, I believe. You could just farm. They respawn almost immediately, and you could just farm them like crazy. To the point where, I mean, people were hitting that achievement for like Spools of Thread before they did the hot fixes in like a matter of an hour. And it was giving not only a ton of spools for your cloak, but it was also giving a ton of bronze. I can't remember the exact number, but like someone had walked away with like 4 million bronze, I think. You know,
That's so
within
awesome.
within a couple hours. And so they nerfed the living hell out of it. And
That
you know,
makes sense.
probably rightfully so. Well, then everyone turned all their attention to the goats in Stormsong, or no, the Valley of the Four Winds, because they
They're
were
always gonna
responding.
find something.
But here's the thing: they were giving it about like 25% the value of what the frogs were, but they're still like
And
going
it's still
crazy.
broken.
Right? Well, those got
Yeah, bro,
nerfed.
They just need
Right?
to like nerf like how
So,
much
Frank, tell me where I go
bronze per
now.
hour you
Well,
can earn.
So if
Turtles.
you're a horde, right? You could go to the
Uh-huh.
Dollar on Sewers and apparently like
the
start a
rats?
quest, and you can only do it on this quest and kill Alliance
The
guards or
rats,
something like
right?
that.
Oh, okay.
No. I think it's guards. Yeah, I think it was Alliance guards. Yeah, placed in the middle of the sewers.
Mhm.
And they had a hyper spawn rate. Yada yada yada.
There's
And
like
I just
I'm surprised I didn't find the turtles yet.
well, for all I know,
someone is
they're
really
on that.
bad at programming. Like, just make a diminishing
'Cause
return on your bronze
But-
earnings.
How
Like,
did
there's-
Tech
you know
Geek
what?
not get
that
this
big a
fixed
deal.
for them?
There's a spot where the turtles spawn like hyper too. It's around like one pool.
Are you
We
talking
used to
about?
farm.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about in like the Valley
And
of
we
Four
used to
Winds.
farm like leather and scale at it.
Yeah, but I mean, they may not drop any of the stuff that people want, other than that leather you're
Maybe
talking
not.
about. But so
My
here's the thing.
take is who cares?
Okay, so
Like,
who cares? This is the, and,
No,
and
that's
in
my
fairness,
Wait.
like people are always degenerate. Like this is, you know, we could talk about race
I
to
will-
world first degeneracy. We could talk about mythic
Yeah,
plus
yeah.
degeneracy.
But if you have a problem with how fast someone can level, then you
No,
should.
I have a problem with
I
I
think
can't control how fast I can level. Like I want to have
Yeah.
a slow experience, and it's not designed
Yeah,
to
but
give me the whole panda
I
experience.
don't think she's
It's too
advocating
fast.
for not having people level
I don't.
fast. She
I
just
don't
wants
care
her
who levels
experience.
fast, and I think
Yeah.
it's cool that like the cloak is like kind of uncapped. Like if you keep getting the spools, the stats keep going up, right?
Yeah.
Indefinitely.
There are people who are soloing raids now because of how much
That's
spools
fun.
they have.
That's fun. Let them solo
Yeah.
the raid. What are they gonna get? All the transmogs? Like,
Let 'em break the game.
Yeah, I think that they messed
isn't that
up.
what
Like I
this
said,
patch is
they-
for?
yeah, no, like I said, they they don't want people to go so fast because then people are gonna stop playing it. Like once you collect all the transmogs, there's nothing left to do. They're gonna stop playing it. They're gonna unsub, wait till War Within, whatever. But like this seems kind of niche. Not everybody is doing frogs or whatever, right? Like only the people
Well,
who
everyone-
want to solo raids.
And I need to stop talking in hyperbole when I do this podcast. I was gonna say everyone did it. No, not everyone did it. But there was like enough of a issue that I want to bring up a post that I read this morning, which was inside the hotfix, I think today, they created a I don't know, this is like a string or a boolean or whatever, a way to tag players as were they a frog farmer or not.
Okay.
Like how many frogs did they kill? Is it like a scarlet
It-
letter?
It's just like a
It's
scarlet
frog
letter.
killing.
Now, granted,
Yep.
no one knows why they did this, right? They just know that they made it so that they could tag people as is frog farmer. Okay.
You know what I would do, Frank? If this was my game, I would give them an unchangeable title that was like frog killer. Just like literally the
Just for
scarlet
the
letter.
memes. Yeah.
It's the only punishment I would give them. I would just give them, like the frog farmer
S-
person. You cannot change it. Like,
So
and if you
while-
want
Kinda
to
like
change it,
answer
you
number
have to
4 the
give
best.
up your. If
Yeah.
you want to change it, you have to give up your bronze that you
You're
got
like
from
the
it,
absolutely
something like
nothing
that.
answer for best. I think Scrap's answer is better than absolutely nothing, but
I think it's funny. Like they shouldn't punish people for it because it was in the game. It's an exploit that they allowed.
so
they should
here's-
take
Or if
people's
you're like
stuff away.
Richard, what you could do is just take the hard-earned bronze that those guys have farmed really hard for and just spread it around the community
Distribute it to the
for
people.
everyone.
I wouldn't be
have the
opposed to that
bronze.
anyways, but that's neither here nor
Yeah.
there. I want to cover
The
the fact
people's
that I want to
bronze.
cover the fact that they this is what Wowhead's speculating because people who are listening to this can't read it. So they're saying they might be able to add a bonus loot for people who did not frog farm and say like, hey, thanks for not exploiting the game.
Thanks for not frog. Maybe they should get a title, Friend of Frogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
If not marked with frog farmer, you get extra
marked.
bronze. From
No,
the frog
I think there
farmers.
should be something that's just like
Like
a title. I think would be good. Like everyone that
A
didn't
title,
do it gets a
or
title
you
that
have
they can
frog
take to retail.
following you the whole time, like
Yeah.
just like a little
A frog
frog
pet.
that follows you constantly. Yeah.
Or they might roll it back, of course, which is an option. And then of
No,
course they might
rolling
also
back
do.
is the least fun option. Everybody would be sad about that. Like people did spend time doing it, so don't punish them for playing the game the way you let an exploit happen. That's my opinion.
They already
Their fault. We shouldn't be
Personal
It's
punished.
in
blame
the
for it.
terms of service that you're not
Yeah,
allowed to
I was gonna
use
say
it.
You're
I
not allowed
agree.
to farm frogs.
Who's
Show
to
me the
define
terms of
what's
service.
abuse?
So you're not allowed to exploit something that you discover is an exploit. So like for example,
is that
anyone
an
that Reddit.
exploit?
I don't think this is an I mean,
You
I
just
think
called it
It's not like
exploit
they
5 times.
I would
like
call it exploit,
teleported
but
through a wall to get to a
Do you?
secret
Okay,
room.
hold on.
Yeah, I agree.
Hold on. Okay, let's define exploit, right? Because do you
How do
think
they
that was?
define exploit? I don't care how you
because
define it.
It's not working as intended,
Okay.
Well, I think it is.
right? Do you think
Yeah,
it
they've
is?
allowed it.
No,
It's
no.
obviously not.
So Scrap. If
Mob
there was
spawned,
an
you killed
exploit,
it, you got the loot. That's
if there was an
what's
exploit
intended.
that
Yeah.
you could go kill Farrakh over and over and over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
Which obviously is not intended how it's supposed to work. But you could
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
get 1,000,000 gold every time because there was a bug,
Yeah.
right? That's not intended how it works.
I don't agree with the fact that it's in the terms of service that you can't exploit it. I think if they mess up, then you should be able to.
You can't disagree that
do
it's
it.
in the terms of services. You can say I don't think it should be.
I don't think it should be actionable.
Okay.
Like that's my
Well,
opinion.
that's another episode's content, so we won't worry about that right now.
Look, I'm with technique. I'm for the people. They should
Okay.
they should let
Well-
the people have their bronze, and if not, distribute it amongst the people.
No, he doesn't agree with that, but that's not a discussion we're
I
going to
don't
get to it
care.
either.
Don't even. Let's
Now,
not even.
Let me ask you this, and
Oh,
did
yeah,
you guys
You're
did you
punishing
guys
all
get your
of us.
did you get your checklist going?
My
What is this?
God,
Am I
what have
even
you
looking
done?
at?
This is a checklist of every single thing you can spend bronze on.
No, but you know what I
Screenshot this shit.
did, Frank? I went through everything I could spend bronze on, and I made a
What the
list of
fuck?
like from the most I want to the least I want. You know, of like 10, 15 things. So I saw how much I had to like.
Well,
save
so
up
I
for.
can't show it on the screen of the stream, but it, according to this, takes about 1.6 million bronze to get everything you might want.
But I don't want everything. You know, I only want some things.
Have you
so
done a
fine.
tally list of how much you need to earn to get everything you want?
Yeah, I did. I don't remember how much it was, but
I'm
it
gonna turn
was
this off
it
because I
was
know
less
it's blinding,
than.
Shawnee.
Yeah, thank you. It was less than 200K.
How much bronze do I have?
In my wildest dreams, that's like including some of the more expensive mounts that I like kind of want, and also the Manaroth shoulders, which is so cool.
But you have to kill
which,
the
who
raid
knows if-
boss. You have to kill the raid
Yeah,
boss to get those two.
That's the thing is that like in my wildest dreams, those are all the things I want. Like I've already gotten the things that are reasonable that I really want, like all the cheaper mounts that I wanted, like all the pterodactyls, that stupid little goat, which I didn't think I wanted. I probably never use it, but I think it's funny.
If he
um,
go
Goat's
outside and stick his
amazing.
tongue out.
It's
love
so
the goat.
small. Like my
Yeah.
knees are dragging on the ground on that goat. I don't know what and that is as
I remember that
intended. It
picture.
says it's a small goat.
Yeah.
Like, I got all the
Terms
mounts
of
and
service issue,
transmogs
you're
that I
going to be
want.
exploiting it.
I don't want it. I'll happily give me a regular size goat, please.
That's what the frog murderers said.
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
wanna do it.
Give me a title. Give me a title, small goat rider. I
okay.
don't care.
Let's put a bow on MoP for this week. So give me a letter
Right.
grade of how you guys
Just
are
a
feeling.
thumbs
It's
up,
going on.
thumbs down.
Okay, thumbs
Yeah.
up. 2 thumbs up or 2 thumbs down, or vice versa.
I'll give it 1 thumbs up. I mean, I am gonna play it right after this podcast. I'm probably gonna do 2 characters all the way through. I love the story of MoP, but I don't think that has to do with the remix. It has to do with the original content. Is why I'm enjoying it.
Oh yeah, and
So-
actually, sidebar question, Scrap, on a scale of we'll call a letter grade A to F. How do you rate the story so far that you've experienced?
I think it's like half really good and half kind of dull. I think like I guess Pandaria and earlier, there's a lot of just like, oh, like we don't like these guys, just kill them. like there's a lot of stuff that doesn't have a lot of depth to it. It feels like, but like the four winds area, the farming town where you kind of are following Chen from little farm to little farm. I love that story. It was great. It was so cute. So that's the kind of stuff I enjoy. I don't really enjoy there's yak people and we don't like them. Oh, there's mantis people, we don't like them. There's fish people. There's, like I was saying, they throw so many random races at you that are all kind of nasty. It all kind of runs together to me. I don't really have a good distinction between like the yak people, the alligator people, the mantis people. They all kind of are just jumbled in like there's these other races and we fight them.
I don't remember any alligator people, but okay.
They're the Saruks. They're in the jungle, the Kransurang.
Oh yeah, I always skip that zone.
Yeah, see, they're forgettable. That's what they're interchangeable with the yak people. It's just like, yeah, they live around where we are and they're attacking us. We don't like them. Like
but the yaks live in the mountains, scrap, and the crocodiles live in the swamps.
This is the kind of story elements that I don't find very interesting.
Well, that's what the Shaw's all about, technique.
Yeah, okay, I'm enjoying the Shaw. Yeah, I'm enjoying the Shaw story.
Tell me to kill a bunch of people.
Anyway, Shawnee, 2 thumbs up.
Love it.
Love it.
Love all of it.
Even though you haven't been drawn to it because you're so busy working.
I am as much as I can.
Yeah.
But the boys are like, come play some D4. So
technique.
Yeah, I have thumbs, man.
Yeah.
That's about how I feel.
Which direction are they facing?
Up or down?
It's all about technique.
Up more than they were for Plunderstone.
For our audio listeners, he pointed at himself.
It's way better than Plunderstorm for me, and I'm glad that people had fun with that. And it was like a little fun little gig. That's cool. I am kind of interested in some of these rewards. Honestly, I haven't given the rewards enough thought or consideration because I have been. You were talking about the Manor shoulders. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's kind of like the most expensive reward, though.
Yeah, they're a little less dope when people get them in this way.
Because everyone's not everyone's gonna get them, but a lot of people can get them.
I don't think a lot of people are. You have to kill Garrosh like 20 times to get them, so it's not like easy to get. I
think you get more tokens based on the difficulty of what you kill them. So you get one for normal and then 3 for heroic.
It's not just a gimme that like you can get like that one's one of the more expensive.
It'll take time.
Yeah, when you said you had to like kill him in the raid and then also like have the bronze to buy it, like that's good. I like that. That's okay.
I think it's like the most high expensive item, including that. Like there's a toy that's like 50,000, but the Manor shoulders are like 40,000, and you have to kill him 20 times. It's like the most expensive thing, and I think it's the coolest thing, so it warrants it. It's only obtainable through this.
All right.
No, you can get Manor shoulders by going back and killing him, right?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't.
That's very low.
Wasn't.
No, it's a very low drop
rate. It is? Okay, I didn't know. I didn't play Panda, so
I think don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
I don't think that ever was part of the set, but I might be wrong.
Okay. Let's move on to War Within. Alpha has hit its 5th week, I think now. And if I remember correctly, and again, don't quote me on this, but from what I recall, last time Alpha for Dragonflight hit a 4-week stride of 1 zone every week, like they did exactly with War Within. And then very soon after that, they jumped into beta. So I'm expecting to see beta soon. Do you guys think we'll see some... Well, let me ask this. Do you think the people who pre-ordered will see a first wave of beta invites? Or do you think that's something that will take time?
I never get beta invites, dude, and I always pre-order.
Did you pre-order? No. But like they have a specific feature of the Ultimate Edition.
I buy the most expensive version of every game that they release.
So you are guaranteed a beta invite then? Beta. No, you're guaranteed one for this. But do you think it'll be wave 1, or do you think they'll wait until like midway through beta?
They're going to wait until the week before the game launches.
Just to meet their commitment.
I think it'll be later than week 1.
All right. Well, do you guys feel, so there have been 2 short stories, and I got one on here, Lyrio's last week, and this week we had Anduin's story. Anduin.
What a baby.
What is wrong with that fox?
So the fox is featured. The fox is featured in the story.
They could draw a better fox than that.
I'll be honest, I didn't read the Illyri one because it didn't really pull to me, but based on what I was seeing about the Anduin story, I did read it. I did get a little heartstrung pulled on it, but let me ask you this. I know none of you all read it. Do you think these kind of short stories... No. Maybe that'll be an extra content on Twitch. Do you guys think this kind of short story pre-expansion build-up, or like the what is it, like 2.5D videos that they had in the...
Oh, I love those, the heroes.
Yeah. Do you think those stories are usually a good way to hype people up for the expansion? Do you think, like, would you read this going, I'm excited based on what Anduin just went through?
I know I do read the short stories every now and then. I have read many of the books. And I tend to only read them if it's a character I'm interested in or a topic I'm interested. I don't want them to put essential story content in a short story because there's already like I already kind of don't know what's going on. You know
Or
what I
even in
mean?
the
I don't need.
novels.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the novels often contextualize like what characters are doing, but I also feel like the novels are often just like shit on like and retconned into oblivion. Like a lot of stuff is removed from canon. I actually want to rant about this, but like they, I won't,
Save it
I
for
won't,
that
I won't.
episode, Scrap.
I know they're not generally in line with what's happening in the game story as well as they should be. I think it's good for. I think the animations, the animatics, are better for generating hype. But I do think people enjoy the short stories who are into lore.
Well,
So
and there's
nothing wrong with it.
there's nothing like critical to knowing the stories about this to get to War Within, but like for the first short story, Illyria goes to Silvermoon to see her son, and what's the name of Illyria's husband, the holy guy who's now the
Tyralion?
Yeah, Tyralion or whatever. He's there too, and like there's a lot of context to one. The Alliance are now allowed in a Horde city, an official Horde city. I know that like the Horde were allowed in the new World Trees city. So there's like some cool, I guess, not even tension, but like just some cool context there for the Horde and Alliance, and what might come of Silvermoon in the next expansion, because we know that'll be a hub of some sort. But also
a PvP hub.
Okay, do a side.
It's kind of wild that all three of the Windrunner sisters ended up going for humans. You think that's in their blood?
Anyways,
just a side. That's the stuff I'm interested in. I want to know who's dating who's having kids with who.
But there's also
like, I don't care about other
back
stuff,
on topic.
But...
There's also some cool I don't know, foreshadowing maybe that Illyria is not allowed anywhere near the Sunwell because last time she got close to it, like with her void powers.
I wouldn't let any of those girls near anything. They're kind of whacks, like whack jobs. So...
Another aside.
That's another aside, but I mean, just like all three of them, I guess Verisa hasn't really done too much.
No, she hasn't gotten herself into too much
but
trouble.
Not yet. But Illyria and Sylvanas both kind of fuck everything up that they touch, so I wouldn't give them anything.
Anyways,
so.
And then
you
the Anduin story
about lore. I have
the
opinions.
Anduin story. I know, fair enough. The Anduin story is about him being in the what's the
crybaby state.
Well, he is again, grief is not something not to call someone crybaby over. What's the in Borealis where they make the ships out with magic and for the killed Tyrion? Storm Song Valley or Storm no.
Oh.
Anyways, he's up there where Shrine of the Storms is, that zone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he just like takes over a mill for some dude, and he's talking about grief, and that guy was a soldier in the Fourth War, which of course Anduin doesn't tell him who he is, and he's just like, ugh. And then there's some loss, and then there's a fox, and like I actually kind of pulled myself into that story pretty quickly, but it didn't really reveal a lot to all it did is just told us where Anduin was before he was down at Silthus at the sword.
I think that's what these short stories are the best for, because like the type of storytelling that the game gives you of quests and like very short cutscenes don't give you a lot of emotion and humanizing moments. I mean, they do have little
emotion,
golden moments. Yeah, this is what the short stories are for. It's not for essential story content. It's for making you like relate with Anduin and be like, oh man, Anduin is like actually kind of a cool character and not just a dude who gets kidnapped 5 times, like, and
six in the War Within.
So, yeah, exactly. Like, because when you're playing the game, that's kind of all you get. Is like he's a kind of heroic character who often eats shit and gets kidnapped. Like, but this kind of humanizes him, and it makes it think like, hey, he's not cool with being kidnapped all the time. He's got feelings, you know.
Well, and I have a feeling that, and again, sorry for spoilers, but there is, I think, some context here as when he gets captured this time around. That there will be a different, not necessarily outcome, but a different like reaction from him.
Oh, he stays captured.
No, he's like, I meant to get captured. Anyways, speaking of lore telling and the content that might be gatekeeped, in War Within, it has been data mined that there it is. That
spoiler
there
tag,
will be this is not a spoiler to the story, but
take it back.
There will be a new story difficulty to the raids. All right, they've made it clear.
I love this.
They made it clear, and they haven't like announced anything yet, but or at least I don't think they have. But the idea is that they want to make sure that the story continues through the dungeons, and it sounds like the raid as well, which, you know, for the most part happens all the time. And LFR was introduced to a lot of people to have access to that stuff at a relatively, you know, easy wall. But with the story difficulty in this raid tier,
can't die.
well, no, you can do it 1 to 5 players, so you can do it solo, right? And it's unclear if you'll get loot. It's unclear what the scaling will look like. But the idea is, I think that they just want to be able to make it so that if you're just wanting to play by yourself and not get stressed by, even if you're a tank in an LFR, you obviously could get a lot of flack from someone for not doing the mechanics correctly.
Yeah.
You might just want to go and do it yourself.
I think this is a great answer to, like, how do we get more people to see the content without having to nerf all the content? Like, go look at it. Go do story mode.
Yeah.
And experience it without having to constantly tune down the game for a larger, broader player base.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a better answer than LFR, because I don't know if you've done LFR recently, but it is not a good way to do the story. Like, it's people running through at a breakneck pace, going through the fight as fast as possible,
Well, it's
like
also
skipping the
fragmented.
cutscenes. Yeah, and it's fragmented and awkward. And I feel like if you're into the story, LFR is like, it's like a totally chaotic and unfun experience. It's super fucking toxic.
Yeah.
Like, people suck and are just assholes and trying to go as fast as possible.
I have to admit that I was in LFR trying to get a bullion on Shamrock Monday night before I went to bed before reset.
You got kicked right at the
No, I didn't get kicked. I just was sitting there like, just please fucking pull. I need to go to bed. I'm gonna pull for you. I will solo this boss. Let's just go.
You're feeling toxic. Yeah, no,
I
I don't.
definitely being toxic.
I kind of don't understand who LFR is for. Me personally, I would never set foot in LFR for any
for the bullying
reason.
Yeah.
I won't even do it for I won't do it for shit. Like, I hate LFR. It's just it's not, it doesn't have any difficulty for me, and
Well, you don't have
like,
alts either.
No, I don't, but I wouldn't even do it on alt. Like, fuck that. I'd rather beg for you guys to carry me through shit. Like, but I think the story content, I can actually see me doing this, because I would love to just like do the raid at my own pace, slowly, like, you know, just like looking at the sites, look at the floor, look at the ceiling, and not feel rushed by like, we have to do this shit now, you know.
Well, and I mean, obviously there's nothing wrong with doing this, right? Like, there's no harm to bring. So I think this is obviously a great idea for those, especially for those more casual players who maybe don't even want to raid, period. Like, they just want to know, like, what's the conclusion to this story, so I can, you know, find out what happened or whatever. So I'm actually very interested, because I think this might be something fun to do just on a quiet, like, you know, once or twice maybe.
I see myself doing this, because it's like when you know how I feel about questing. Like, you say, do you want to quest through this area? I'm like, I don't want to quest with you, because you're gonna rush me. Like, and I want to read all the quests.
Well, hold on.
And I want to look at the sites and get sidetracked.
As evident from the episode where we did trivia, we went through, for example, Aberrus, where Neltharion was talking to
But when we're raiding together like heroic, I'm not paying attention to the story, because I'm thinking about my meter and I'm talking shit with you guys, and I'm missing all that shit. And I would rather have an experience, like, I would love to do the raid first, where I get to do the story without anybody talking to me, so I can enjoy it like how I enjoy the quests. You
Turn
know,
the music up a little bit.
Yeah, hear the music.
Do you see yourself doing this technique?
No. But
get that music going, get a little vibe going. I ain't fucking doing that.
Not for me.
Well, that's just because I'm doing it on a harder difficulty.
Yeah, you're
and
already doing it.
You know, that's not necessarily for me, like, to go do it again, but just to check it out deeper. I do totally see what Scrap's been saying, and I think that, you know, I know that, like, my wife would love to play it like this and have this option to just go in and, hey, check it out, without the pressure of what's my performance going to look like, and how are the, you know, do I have to deal with a bunch of nerds that play this game for 20 years, you know? Like, you know, she loves the game and the content and the lore and the characters and all that, but, like, the game is the game and not just the story. I kind of like that it can be just the story. So I'm kind of curious how they're going to roll this out. Big point is going to be like, what's up with loot? So what do you get from it, if anything? Who cares? I don't think maybe there should be anything. Maybe just
like one item,
like an achievement. Yeah, like you get an achievement or a title, or like one mount or something,
or like
just
some
something to encourage people to do it. Yeah, transmog. Yeah.
Shawnee, do you think
it's not
this
like
is
a set, like a different color, because then it would be like you have to do it over and over. Like, ugh.
Shawnee, do you think this is a step forward in what we were talking about last week with leveling, that maybe we'll start to see? Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea too for people who don't want to do LFR, but they want to go into normal raid. And when they do, at least they've like you could tell people like, yeah, go do story mode, so you at least have a vague idea.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Well,
think it's good.
And we're of course going to do another trivia episode once we get through season 1 of War Within. So maybe Scrap can keep up with her questions and not lose to you this time around.
We'll see.
All right.
It'd be interesting to see the whole game kind of have a story mode option, just like a passive, like I can't die, I just want to do things. I don't get rewards, but it'd be nice to like go and do quests and do dungeons at like a I'm not here to get things difficulty. I'm just here to see and learn the game. Not learn it like a player,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
learn
yeah.
it like I want to learn the lore.
The
a
storybook.
little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we
Yeah.
talked about last week with the
But
idea of like key
to me,
moments
like-
you get to go through the raid on your own.
Yeah. To me, maybe you do get some transmogs that way, but I don't know. That's
Yeah.
that's an interesting approach. I like.
I definitely don't think I would do this, but maybe once, like,
I would
and
do
just
it once, yeah.
yeah, and not even that. Like after the first tier, I probably wouldn't do it again because, like you said, we're gonna see it in heroic, and I'm paying attention on like Scrap.
I can't. I'm too busy
but-
talking shit.
But
as
like
fast
for
as I
me,
can.
this technology is what interests me the most because then again, like exactly how I wanted last week. Let me play the raid where we go to Black Temple on a solo adventure, because I can go in there right now and just like literally one shot everything because we're doing millions of damage. I don't want that. I want to be able to walk in and say, okay, like it'll only take me a minute to kill it, but I just want to see the major beats and go move on.
Well,
It
we've
kinda
talked about this
detracts from the
almost.
story to
yeah.
be able to walk up to a big bad boss and just like kill him with your consecrate.
Here's
with
my
no
judgment.
effort.
I mean, I feel like we've hit on this every week, and that really speaks to how much we want it. Is like more challenging single target experiences. Like, and I think that could be an easy one. Just make it
That's-
so Illidan is a difficult 2-minute fight.
That's a good question. Do you think this will be difficult?
I don't think this will be difficult just because what they're pitching it as, they're like, this is for people
Story mode.
who LFR is going to be too much for them. So I don't think this will be difficult, but I think it would be cool if there was some way to like kind of. I keep talking about Mage Shower. I love the Mage Shower.
Yeah.
Like
Well, Delves is
make
supposed to be the new
Illidan-
Mage Shower.
Yeah, make Illidan like a Mage Shower type boss.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That he's difficult, but fun. So
Yeah.
you could be like, man, Illidan is sick, dude. He's so cool, instead of just like killing him one hit now.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially if you can bring in the technology for follower dungeons and make a
I
5-man
think
team
it's
of this.
going. I think we can all agree this is going in a good direction of like more single player content. I hope that they introduce more challenging single player content as well.
All right. Well, we've got 2 more topics to discuss, and I think they're going to take a little bit of time. So let's chew on private auras for a second. And Scrap, go on and tell us what private auras are.
I have no fucking clue what private auras are. I'm
Damn.
banking on
I
you
thought
to
we were
tell
going to
me
finally
what they
get something
are.
from you
All
today.
right, so
I
fix the
told you.
Scrap
I
podcast.
said Frank is going to explain to me in the podcast what they are, just like he's going to explain to the viewers what they are, and I'm going to learn along with you guys. So
Okay.
let's go.
All right. Now, I gotta take a second to apologize because last time we talked about private auras, I insinuated that it required third-party apps to kind of work around. That's not the case. It was more of a macro thing that still led back to weak auras, as I understand it. So let me apologize there. But private
I'm already
auras,
lost.
private
Concept's the
auras
same,
are
yeah.
essentially, let's call them debuffs, right? That weak auras cannot track. Okay? So for example, Scrap, Blaze on Farrak, the line fire.
Yeah.
That is a private aura. Okay?
Wait, what? I don't know what mechanic that is. This is like a.
Christ.
Anyway, a mechanic
Is
with
it-
fire.
Okay.
Rock.
Let's
Go
try.
on.
Let's try. Let me think of another one. God, how do you not know what Blaze is? It's like
What is?
all
Just
over.
describe it to me. Is it
Okay.
is it a
You know
dot
Farrak.
or is
You
it
know
a?
Farrak, right?
Yeah,
You know how-
I'm familiar with Farrak.
You know how you would destroy the seeds if you drew a line on top of the seed?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That line was called Blaze. Okay.
Okay, so you would know
Happens-
who it's going on before it
Happens
happens.
throughout the entire fight, right?
Okay.
What a private aura does is it does not allow weak aura in any way to interact with it. Okay.
Okay.
Now, I say that because, for example, it's universally hated, especially at the mythic side of things, because on the Neltharion fight, so we did Neltharion this week, right?
Yeah, I'm.
You
very
remember those
familiar
2
with
red circles that the people had to move away from?
it. Sure.
On Mythic, you get, I think, 5 of them. Okay.
Oh, so you really have to shove them in the
And
back.
of course, it's Mythic, so you can't get hit. You can't overlap them, right?
it. Yeah.
And this sounds egregious as like why Blizzard allowed this is just unbelievable. But so imagine that small space in phase 1, just for example. You have to have 5 circles to pinpoint them in a direction.
Yeah.
And it's a private aura, which means weak aura cannot tell you where to go. You have to figure it out for yourself. And you have like,
What do you
7
mean tell
seconds to do it.
you where to go? Because
Like
like you just
predetermined
crowdsource the path.
locations for each person to go to.
Like imagine it would
Oh,
auto.
I don't-
Remember when we
It
did
auto-assigns you locations.
like Fate
yeah,
Scribe?
So what happens? So what happens
Okay.
without the
Yeah,
weak aura
yeah.
scrap is you got 5 people scrambling, and you got people that are like, "No, that's my spot." No,
Yeah.
and
Like
they-
it say
they walk
your
each other
triangle,
blind
go to
white.
triangle.
I've definitely experienced that.
Right. So
Yeah.
So it again, like what would require, what Blizzard wanted was that they had to communicate in real time and say, I'm going here, you go there, yada yada, right?
Yeah.
But they did not give enough time for that to realistically happen without causing absolute
Yeah.
toxicity. So
I
how
gotcha.
did they get around it? Well, this is where I told you about the third party part. It's not third party. What they did is they would all hit them, like if they saw that they had the debuff, right? They would hit a macro that would tell weak auras, I have it. So they
Okay.
circumnavigated the private aura part of it. And then weak aura
it
would tell them,
manually trigger
you
it.
go to this one. Now, granted, they also had
Okay.
to keep, I think they had to keep a map on the second window on, or maybe they figured out how to put it up in weak auras, but they would then have a map pop up and say, you go to number 4, and like, okay, I run over to number 4, okay? So, long story short, private auras, I think, are solved to the Asmongold conversation we had about, not allowing weak auras to essentially do the game for us. But on the flip
They're not a
side,
solve.
they're not, well, they could be a solve, but they're not being used as well as they should be, because they either make a mechanic so toxic that it's like, another example, Scrap. Farrak again, the intermission phase
Okay.
where he lands and we have to catch the orbs from hitting him?
Yes.
On Mythic, there's shadow orbs and there's flame orbs.
Okay.
And you have to only touch the orb that you have the debuff for. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Well,
Yeah,
that is a
gotcha.
private aura.
Positive, negative.
All right.
Okay.
And you have to fan out perfectly with the other 20 people in your group to make sure that you're getting your orb while no one else is missing the orbs on the opposite side of the boss. So think about it.
Yeah.
You have, fire 1,
there's some-
shadowed 1, fire 2,
Yeah.
shadow 2, but you can't assign it via weak auras. You have to figure it out on your own in a matter of seconds.
It feels arbitrary because like I'm thinking of like the Razageth fight where you have like the tornadoes and the orbs, and the weak auras do respond to that. They give you an X and a square.
But those weren't private auras. Only
Yeah, I know,
certain
but that's
spells
what
were.
I'm saying is that why are they making some things private auras and some not? Because that seems like a similar mechanic. Like
Because they invested a lot of time to make these like features, these
specific parts of the fight that they want to make sure it's challenged.
And they want to not oversimplify the encounters with weak auras.
I think this is. Go on.
The problem that you face with that is, the community is finding some different workaround,
mhm.
and
Which is just making it more unfun.
tedious and more kind of annoying. But you didn't solve the problem by introducing private auras. You just made it more of a bitch. Which
I agree with that.
whatever.
It seems like people are gonna try to find a workaround. If they make a mechanic that is too difficult to deal with, like reasonably, then people are gonna find a workaround. So they need to make mechanics that you don't have to do this with.
It's like it's like the cookie jar on top of the refrigerator or whatever. Like if there was cookies in that jar, you'd find a way to get it, and you would.
Yeah,
And
I
the problem
agree.
is, like quick story. I was growing up, man. I had a little addiction with being on the computer. Go figure. And my dad said, "Hey, get off the fucking computer." And I said, "Okay." And then when he wasn't around, I'd sneak on. Okay, guess what? He'd lock the door. Okay, I'd take the hinges off the door. Okay, he'd take the damn, and I'd put him back before he got back from work.
Of course,
yeah.
He put literally, this is the stupidest thing he did. He literally did this. He put one of those timer outlets on the outlet for the power cord.
Not thinking that you could unplug it.
Okay, yeah, it was on a timer, and it was locked with like a lock, like a key lock to keep the timer thing plugged in. So I just pull a drop cord in and use a different cable to power the computer.
This is bizarre.
Literally the truth though, like these
his point still is,
I get the point. It's just bizarre.
So I had like 2-3 hours of time after school to not do chores and play games instead. So the point is, Blizzard needs to find a different solution. Like either
hold on.
Like private auras are obviously not helping the problem for the people that they're trying to solve the problem for. The Mythic Raiders will find a way to make this encounter easier.
Well,
Period.
and here's the thing. So it hasn't really been a problem for people like us, right? It's really the Mythic players who have been struggling
I
the most
never
on this.
even heard of this, so
well, and you never
obviously not.
noticed that Blaze was a private aura because the truth is, even if a weak
I
aura existed,
I still am fuzzy on what Blaze even is because it, you know, like I'm just listening to the raid leader barking orders at me and hoping I don't do something wrong.
So when I told you don't hit the ads with the fire because they would explode, right? You know what fire I'm talking about, right?
At the last phase?
Yeah. You notice
Yes,
how that
our
weak auras never told you that you had Blaze. Whereas every other time you have something, it would tell you, you have Blaze, and you know, you'd like, react.
Okay.
So anyways, point is this. We had private auras that really didn't impact us because the truth is that it wasn't necessary for us to be successful. Like it could have helped us, but it wasn't necessary. That isn't the case for Mythic for some degree. And even they had to nerf it. And I agree with Technique that there's this like arms race going on that it's just not conducive to the problem solve. But there is a reason why I think that they should continue with this idea of private auras because of the same reasons we talked about weak aura maybe holding the game back a little bit to a degree, of course. So I say all that because we had private auras in raids. Well, in War Within, we are now going to have private auras in dungeons as well. And an example of this is there's a fight on the Dawnbreaker dungeon is the one that I like the best way that I could visualize it. I'll send you guys a video of it later. But what happens is the last boss will have a green line drawn on a player, okay? And on that green line, you can see through your player to the left or to the right which way a tidal wave of slime is going to move to the right or to the left, right? And they are not allowing it to be weak ordered, which means that let's say it wasn't a private order, you would go into this fight, weak order would pop up and say left, and it would tell you that the wave is going to go to your left, and you just know to run to the left so that it goes and hits no one. You're not going to have that luxury anymore, okay? This will be a private aura that there's no reason I think a macro and or weak auras would do a benefit. Like you hitting a macro that says I have it doesn't do you any good because you still need to look at it and see if it's left or right.
Yeah.
And then if you were to hit a macro and say left or right, well, what's the point of telling weak aura that you know it's left or right? You already know it.
I feel like a private aura, like, or a weak aura is unnecessary with that. When you're explaining to me the Neltharion fight where it's like 5 people have to be organized really quickly, it's not feasible for the raid leader to say, you go here, you go here, you go here. You know,
before they could even finish that sentence, the time would go up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. The
but
problem
it seems
though
like
is
if you need to move left or right and you can visually see that you need to move left or right, you don't need a weak aura to tell you to move left or right. You should be looking at your screen.
Okay, so I wish I'd shown you this beforehand, but what if the visual isn't great?
The visual needs to be good. I mean, the game needs to be able to play without DBM.
Okay.
Bingo. And that's
my opinion.
I don't know if Shawnee had any input here. I was going to ask him if he had something to add before I have a pretty, I think, a decent
I want to hear
point
Shawnee's point before we go back.
No one's going to like it. I don't like weak auras.
Bingo. That's exactly what I was going to say.
I think everyone likes the idea.
No, I don't. I don't like the idea of it.
No, I meant everyone likes your point is what I meant.
Oh yeah, okay. But yeah, I think really like the game
to a degree.
Yeah, I think the game itself should do a good enough job of letting you know what you have to do in the fights. I think DBM and little wigs and big wigs and stuff has made it easier for people to be lazy, and they've gotten so lazy that when the raid leader doesn't call it out, they don't even know what to do, even though there's another add-on they're forced to have. Because to be in raid, you have to have it. That people are like, I didn't know I had to move. It's like, well, 3 add-ons told you to move, and you didn't move because, you know, the raid league didn't tell you. Yeah. And I'm very much like, I don't know, I'm old, so a lot of my games didn't tell me what to do, and I had to figure it out.
Even if they didn't do a good job of it.
Yeah. And I didn't have the internet then to figure out stuff and be like, why do I keep dying here? I gotta, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, but yes, I think WoW has to do a better job of for the private auras making it so at least it's somewhat Mythic. It wouldn't have been a problem if they had more time, right?
Yeah, so that's the solve. Is not to worry about the private aura part. It's like, okay, fix the mechanic.
But you can't make the mechanic have more time because then the people still have weak auras that are just going to make it even easier now that it's also longer.
You get rid of the weak aura.
Yes.
You don't need it because then you make the mechanics difficult enough, but yet you still have to organize.
Okay, so I'm going to use an example real quick of...
I got to have an input in here. I got to shove this in, man. I'm sorry. I got to throw it in. Dude, I think the Blizzard devs could like learn a lot from what the community is doing with these weak auras and what we're doing with our add-ons and stuff, and make the game do these things to a more artistic level, like a more Blizzard feeling level. I don't want a fucking orange circle on my head. I want some
Yeah.
other indicator that makes it clear to me, the player, that I have this problem, this debuff, and it might be my character, doing a certain emoji, not emoji, but some sort of like indicator. He might say something. He might have, a different noise that he makes, whatever, that also, has like a flashing thing above my head, something that indicates that, hey, like you're standing in the bad, like move.
I've got an example of that. Anduin in Sepulchres of the first one, right?
No, that's too long ago, Frank. Can you do a more recent one?
You'll remember.
I don't remember.
You remember when we all got targeted with either gold or black, and you had to touch someone.
Yeah. I do remember that.
So that we had a weak aura for that would like flash positive and negatives or whatever above your head,
which I didn't use.
Right? Fair enough. And again, like
We're
in the Race the World
the
first
games, like
hold on. So in the Race the World first, Liquid said, no, we're going to worry about this on our own. We don't need a weak aura because it's visual enough that we can get it, right? It may not go smoothly, right? It may not go smoothly at first, but once we get it, we're going to get it and we're going to be good, right? Whereas Method or Echo, Echo spent like all this time to make a weak aura, and did it really do anything to make the mechanic easier? I don't think so.
No, I think if the visual is good enough, there's no reason
so
that
do you think that was an example of a good one?
I remember Anduin was a good one because you like one person was dark and one person was light and it had a thing above your head. That's a good one. I think the Razageth one is not a good one because it's like you have
the positive and negative.
Gray tornado or a gray circle. And also the punishment of being in the wrong group was like intense.
Insta-death.
Yeah, insta-death.
So was
it should have been color coded or something. Just stuff that were like, if you're looking at a lot of things, you kind of need it to have contrast.
You have to think about accessibility. It can't just be color.
I agree.
But I agree.
Well, you can. There's accessibility settings with color.
Remember that season we had where we got like every so often we got like lightning overhead or something?
Storming.
The thundering.
Season 1.
Yeah.
Storming. Sorry.
And like it was so easy. There was only 4 people that had it, so there was really only
the tank never got it after they nerfed it.
And then like the other 4, it was pretty obvious like who had it, but people made a weak aura for it, and they would be like, "You need the weak aura to do this," and I'm like,
"No, you don't." I agree with you on that, Sean.
I was like, I refuse to use it, and people would yell at me.
Actually,
I'm like,
sorry, go on.
I would not run into the wrong thing ever because I'm like, I can see my character, I can see this thing over my head.
Let me ask you this.
What I did.
Hold on. The weak aura, though, while it did spam shit, and I agree with you, that was not necessary at all. It did also count down for you over your character's head.
The countdown was essential.
I feel like the countdown saved my life a couple times.
The countdown, fine. But
you're trying to like pinch out the most DPS from the buff you get, sure, but otherwise just get rid of the damn debuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel like a lot of times that wasn't what cost us a dungeon.
Do you think it was a fun mechanic?
I liked the mechanic.
I loved it.
I had no problem with it. I thought it was great.
And I feel like
as a caster, it sucked.
Impactful like mechanics like that you want a timer for. Again, if a weak aura would maybe have like a 5, 4, 3, like countdown, why not have the game do something similar? Maybe your
maybe they'd argue that's too easy then.
Well, I'm not saying a literal countdown. I'm saying the character does something in the game that is indicative of, hey, you're about to fucking die, like do something
like
about
your
it.
Screen flashes a little bit to let you know.
Sure. Yeah,
there
like
are
a red
indicators,
something.
Right? Like because you can look at the debuff and see the timer counting down. Again, this goes back to like I said, like one of the only things that would change about the base UI is that you could move debuffs around on your
screen.
Make
it massive in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, I would. I mean, if it was an important
I'm sure there's
one,
add-ons out there that can though.
There's add-ons, but I'm just saying, like, I do base UI and stuff like that. That's like the one thing I use weak auras for is to put debuffs into places I can see them.
Are there like a bunch of? I don't play Final Fantasy, so are there a bunch of weak auras? And
you cannot use weak auras.
You're not allowed any add-ons.
It's there's no add-ons. There are, but they're super underground, and it's a bannable offense. You can't even use a damage meter.
Yeah.
No weak auras.
I don't necessarily love that approach. I like UI adjusting add-ons and stuff, but I don't necessarily love, and I'm thinking about this from the developer perspective. Like obviously as a player, if weak auras are available, I'm going to use them because I want to be competitive. But as a developer and as a player, I think if the community didn't have these as an option for like encounter-based weak auras and stuff, it'd probably be better for the community.
I mean, we're retreading old ground at this point because
Mhm.
we did talk about this a lot. But I think just now that I know what private auras are, I think that um, the game should always you should always be able to play the game without them, without weak
Oh,
auras.
Jesus. Okay.
So they shouldn't. If they're gonna do a private aura that you can't track with a weak aura, it needs to be fucking obvious and reasonable to execute.
And it needs
So-
to
Which it
work
sounds like the Neltharion
so
fight
the
was
community doesn't just
unreasonable.
come up with a second workaround anyway.
Yeah, especially I think if it's especially unreasonable to work around, like then they will try to work around the private aura, right? But I'm sure there's tons of private auras that there aren't like crazy workaround weak auras for, because the game telegraphs it well enough that you don't have to. Like
Well,
the
not
blaze.
all things though, right? Because like the volcanic arc doesn't even let you telegraph the exact pinpoint location you need to be in. And then when you have the shadow, so in the Farok intermission of shadow and flamebound, like you need to not only coordinate with your own red or purple ball, but you also need to coordinate with the other 9 people who also need to fan out perfectly in a matter of a second.
I think that's unreasonable. So tell me, what's the controversy? What are people taking
Well,
sides
they're worried.
on? That
They're
there
worried
should
that
be no
Blizzard.
private auras or what?
No, I don't think they. I don't want to speak for everyone, obviously, but I think the problem isn't that they're saying private auras are necessarily a bad thing. The problem is that they're not using it effectively, and there's some times where they're like players are even going like, "What were you thinking?" Right? Like, so for example, the volcanic arc on Neltharion, like all that did was make a unfun mechanic insanely more unfun because you had to build a weak aura, and then you had to click a button to tell the weak aura you had a debuff. Like that's not a fun game mechanic, right?
Yeah.
So that's the problem they have is like you're not giving us a good mechanic that is made fun by this idea of not having weak aura do it for me, because you can see like they talk about rending charge. So rending charge is on that council fight in Aberrus we did this week, right? Where 3 people are picked to be charged and no one else wants to stand near them to not get charged.
Yeah, and you have plenty of time to get out into
Exactly,
a safe
right?
area.
And on top of that, like it doesn't really matter what order they're in. It just matters that they're way off and no one else is way off, right? And they're saying like this is a list right now from Dratnos on Twitter where he essentially talks about like how it impacted based on the private aura.
Yeah.
And for most part, most of them are in it's fine, it's not a big deal. But my concern, and I think what most people are arguing for, is like if you're going to do this, make it better as a result, right? There's not a single one where it said like, wow, this was worth not knowing weak aura or not having weak aura to help me with it.
Yeah, I see. It doesn't have anything at the top.
Yeah, right. And more often than not, you have huge walls, so Neltharion being the second last boss and Farok being the last boss, where arguably there could have been hundreds of more pulls even for the race to world first pulls. Like gear is not going to solve these problems, right?
Yeah.
So I think at the end of the day, and we'll put a pin on this or a bow on this, is that it's like, okay, well, if you want to do this, that's fine, but you have to make a gorgeously designed mechanic and make sure, and I'm looking at, and again, I'll put it on the screen here for those watching afterwards, but the mechanic from Dawnbreaker, it's not quite there. And I could definitely see one of us like one day thinking, oh, that's going to the left and it's actually going to the right, and wiping the entire raid, and we bust the key and all that stuff. And all you think to yourself for just one split second, even though you might not agree with it at the end of the day, is just like, if I had a weak aura just telling me left, that would have been solved. Right.
I mean, generally my design philosophy is that if it's something that's gonna wipe the group, if you fuck it up, it needs to be blaring red, super fucking obvious, idiot proof.
But yeah.
Whatever. I mean, just like it needs to be super obvious. Like if it's something that's just gonna do a third of your health, like chunk of damage, like it doesn't have to be as obvious. Because like,
what about the tentacles at Plaguefall?
Those are super obvious, man. They're way
and
too
yet you
fast.
got hit by them all the time.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is that I think that was fair.
Wouldn't you like to have known tentacles about to hit you?
Yeah, but I think I had all the tools to know that I was about to die to a tentacle. I think that was a fair mechanic, and I think that level of visual of it like showing you on the ground and showing.
No,
this
hold on. Okay, hold
tentacle.
on. Okay, but the problem was because we've gotten killed by this before. It shows you the tentacles coming, but you don't know the line. You don't know where the line of where it's going to hit. You think you're clear of it, and you're not.
They need to fucking work on that. I agree, because there's definitely some mechanics where we're like the circle is like.
Yeah.
I will say something in Final Fantasy is everything has a fucking hard circle, hard square, hard triangle on it, which visually it kind of
Not as fun.
sucks.
Yeah.
But I do wish you could
Well-
like turn it up a little bit. You know.
All they gotta do, they don't have to make it visually suck. They just need to use the same graphics, just make the actual circle slightly smaller than the graphic circle. So,
Yeah,
like,
I
when you're-
agree. Just
you
make it slightly
think you're
smaller.
out of it, like you're definitely out of it. You know?
Motherfucker, that Plaguefall tentacle is slightly bigger, I swear to God. Or my hitbox is slightly bigger.
Well,
like,
and it's obviously a cone, but you're like sitting there and you're seeing it slap, 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 and you're like,
You're
okay,
like, I'm good.
there's not even like
Yeah.
a graphical interface showing me that I've been hit, but I still get hit, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean
mind
that's
you,
I think where the argument's coming from with the private wars is like you
will
need to make sure
say-
it's perfectly defined.
It has to be perfect. I will say half the time I'm bullshitting, but not a key goes by where I don't die and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not like, oh, I
It doesn't
deserve
matter.
that. I'm like never like, oh, I deserve that. Because most of
Like-
the time I'm like, I see the fucking circle on the ground and I think I'm good, you know, and I'm not. Because I have a big stupid character who's gigantic.
Haywire's tail is commonly
His
insane.
tail. Yeah, we
Yep.
joke about his
And, like,
tail.
Because there is a lot of times where it looks like you're out of it, and even after, like, I've seen Scrappy, like, I wasn't in it, and her body is clearly not.
Yes,
in
yeah,
what
I've seen a couple
hit her.
myself. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
but yeah,
Well, it's hard to say because everybody's
Anyway.
got different sized characters, but I think the hitboxes are the same. Like a Volpera doesn't have a smaller hitbox than a Tauren, right?
I don't know.
Why isn't everybody playing Volperas then? You know?
because they're all playing.
They kind of look ugly.
Because
I
they want
think they
stone
have
form
this-
and
Well, I'm just saying is that, like,
whatever,
I'm not
meld.
saying I want a big stupid circle around my character so I know exactly where stuff overlaps. So I'm just saying I agree with technique. It should be they should give us more grace as opposed to less. Like it
I agree,
should
yeah.
if they've got a line here, you should have a little bit of room on that line that you can actually be in, you know?
All right. Let's close out today's episode with all the tier sets from War Within have been, I say released, right? The data mining has happened for them.
Yeah.
And I just want to get you guys a little quick fashion show. You guys give me your initial thoughts and say.
I mean, you heard my opinion already.
Well, hold on.
What is
Everyone that
Viewers
wants to know
have
Scrap Slot,
Scrap.
just read my mind. She told me about him 3 weeks ago.
Well, I'm just saying you might want to ask them first because I'm gonna go on a rant about them. So,
Well, that's not what you just said, but okay.
well,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just saying
that's-
you
All
know
right.
what to expect.
Let's
Can we
start
just
with
do
Death
thumbs
Knights.
up, thumbs down?
Yeah. We'll
reviews?
just do like I like it or we'll say love it,
Give
like
me
it,
2
hate
minutes
it.
to
all right?
rant at the end, please. Can I have 2 minutes? To
Yeah,
rant
Scrap.
at the end?
You'll be our fashion correspondent.
Whole minute?
Okay.
Technique.
That is fair.
Technique. What do you think of this Death Knight one? Love it, like it,
I
hate
don't
it.
fucking know what's going on, man. Has he got enough candles going on?
I
I
don't.
don't love
Yeah.
it. I don't love it. I don't like it. I don't even like it.
Okay, so
I don't love it.
you're meh. Okay, yeah. All right,
I'm
thumbs down.
thinking the purple and the blue and the teal going on in the raid finder. I don't feel very Death Knighty here.
Yeah.
I strongly dislike it too because the PvP one and the raid ones are the same, just slightly different colors.
Yeah, they look so similar.
All right, Scrap. Give us a quick rundown.
Thumbs down. Thumbs down.
I know you said you wanted 2 minutes.
Oh,
No,
I
she
want
did
after
at
the
the
whole
very
thing.
end.
Right.
Oh well, okay, fine. All right. So
I'll do it now. You want me to go now?
Well, I thought you would talk individually about each one. Like, oh, this one's
I'm
bad
not
because.
going to talk 2 minutes
stupid
about
this and
each
that.
one because I think my opinion is consistent for all
Okay.
of them.
Well,
but go
again,
on.
you can be our fashion correspondent. So if you have anything to add at the end of
Okay.
it, by all means.
I will. I have a lot to add.
I when I first saw this, I thought, oh, this is not that bad. But there's more of a look at it, unless it's like the blue one. The blue one's like the only one I'm like maybe, but everything else I'm like, ugh.
They're all
gross.
garbage.
All right, Demon Hunter
Garbage.
technique.
Out of the two, I think Demon Hunter's better than the other one, but still
I
garbage.
agree with that. Still not good.
I kind of like the helmet. You know, it's got the big, I don't know,
Yeah,
horns.
Nope.
like a Loki kind of horn. I
It
don't know.
looks
Again, I think
like-
some of the blues are okay. Like this kind of looks like a Frostfire one.
The
with
PvP 1 and 2 for all of them are fucked up.
yeah, that's
I
a
don't
little
like
too
it.
a little too contrasty.
I agree with Shawnee. They're too close together.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's just
Yeah, it's
different
just they're
colors.
both green. One just has like a red splash. I don't like it.
All right, so
What, did they
universally
hire the
dislike.
Fortnite artists or something? And I hope that your rant is going to go in this direction.
I think they
Blizzard
hired a
better not-
Mid-Journey artist. I mean, that's my
Blizzard
opinion.
Better not be losing their artistic touch, because if they
Yeah.
do, they're fucked.
Druid.
I
Now
agree.
here's one thing I don't understand about Druid
Yeah.
because like I feel like no matter what Druid artists are gonna lose because you're mostly in a form for these, right? So
Yeah,
if the
like,
if the
this
community
looks like
loves
a
it, they're gonna be
shitty
like, well, what the
hunter
fuck? I can't. Like, I'm not gonna be able to see it while I'm in form.
They need to drop the fucking pause as a design philosophy. They've done it way too much in
Mhm.
Dragonflight. The steel pause. Come on, man.
Whenever I look at these, I usually look directly at the shoulder because that's the only thing I usually care about.
And I hate the
Yeah.
shoulder for this.
I like this
I
gold one right
I
here.
actually don't mind this one. I like the asymmetrical shoulders.
I do
So
too. I kind of.
I
This
just
one
find-
out of
on
the
the
three
back.
we've
What
looked
is this,
at, I
Paw
think this is
Patrol?
better.
Oh wow, my daughter is not going to take kindly to your comment.
I hate it.
She is all
Make it
about Paw
half
Patrol
thumb.
helping out the Azerothians.
Okay,
Druid gets
whatever.
half a
Thematically,
thumb.
Half a thumb.
thematically, the
Yeah.
evoker looks pretty decent.
No,
We're not on Evoker
But
yet.
again,
that's
It's
Evoker's
right
next.
there.
I know,
Keep
but we're
going.
not there. We have.
We all
So
say
go
the
All right,
Druid.
Evoker.
Oh,
Druid gets
go
like
quickly.
half a thumb.
Yeah, I didn't get any thumbs for the druids. All right,
Oh.
Evoker.
Don't
Now
like it.
Evoker, I don't even understand because Evoker you can't like see all the.
But you can be human form. You see all of it.
Oh, and that's right.
Yeah, I
In
think-
the new expansion, you can see like you can
I think
stay
it's
in human
better
form,
than the
right?
other ones.
You know, I think it's. I kind of like the green one. Looks pretty sick.
I kind
But
of yeah, the raid finder one looks best.
this is one of the better ones, but I still don't like it.
It's the
It's
best
kind of
one
overly
yet,
detailed,
so
and the
far.
silhouette's not great.
The gold one I think is pretty
What
good.
the fuck is that?
Stupid. That's what it is.
Fucking Hunter's
All right,
never looked
thumbs.
good. Down.
Evoker gets
For
half.
evoker, I'm gonna give it
One.
I'll give it a half.
half
It's one of the
thumb.
better ones, but
1.5.
All right, Hunter.
nope.
This looks like dog shit. This looks terrible. Who's the artist here? Get rid of him. Literally, I hope you
Ernie.
lose your job, man. It's terrible.
The
I like
one
the
the one
red.
viewer we have is the artist, and it's like, oh my god.
I will come back. I say the artists are overworked, and I, as a working artist, like I feel for you, dude. But I do not like whoever the art director is not doing their job. We don't shit on the artists. We shit on the art directors.
Okay, let's take a quick pause here. Do you think this has
Sure.
anything to do with the fact that the theme is Nerubian? Like that's why it's
They don't.
not so
None
good.
of them look Nerubian. None of them look
As
Nerubian.
I mean, like adjacent. Like
what the fuck kind of skull is that on the hunter? It looks like a goat.
It looks like a flat
Why couldn't it be a
face.
spider? Why couldn't it be
I
a
don't know.
spider skull? Like
Yeah, could have been spiders.
it
Agreed.
literally looks.
just
Actually,
scrap,
the left shoulder
scrap,
looks like
scrap,
a pig
scrap.
skull. Yeah,
do
sorry,
spiders
getting
have skull?
No, but you could have like sick, like exoskeletal armor. Like they could go in a Nerubian direction. None of these look Nerubian. None of them at all.
All right.
Like
Thumbs.
Mage looks like it's been done before.
Thumbs.
I feel like this one's been done. Oh,
this one's okay. It's got a little
Hunter
bit of the.
garbage.
Are you talking about the Hunter
for
scrap?
Hunter? No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the mage.
Okay.
Hunter
all right.
down.
Mage.
That one's
That's-
okay.
I feel like it's been
One
done
looks the most
before. What's that
Nerubian.
look
It's
like?
a
What's that
little
one look
close
like?
to the to
Looks like the
season
sun.
the Abras one, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, Aberith. Yeah.
But they did do, I think, a better job because like the purple is the closest to one that I remember of the Abras. But like these
It's
blue
okay.
ones are look pretty good.
Why no more? Like, let's get robes. I feel like mages should have robes once in a while.
The
Oh my
battle-
god, the monk one. Ugh.
Scrap.
Sorry.
Let's finish the class we're on.
You gotta stop
Sorry.
scrolling down so far.
Yeah, stop scrolling down.
Guys,
Don't
I
let me
want to
see
point
it.
out that on the stream, I'm not that far down. I'm in the middle of the
I'm sorry,
screen.
I'm sorry.
So
Okay, hold on,
fucking
let me-
slow down.
Let me get a sticky note to cover the part. that
Just
the viewers
wait.
can't see.
Put your thumbs down, and then when I say
can't.
monk, then you can go
I
on.
have opinions.
Just gonna
All
keep
right,
my
like
thumb
this
down.
PvP one though on the mage one, I like a lot. This like white.
The colors, I'm liking the colors on the mage one, but the difference is
This
the
is the best
colors
one
I'm
I've
not
seen
looking
so
at so
far, I
much
think.
as I'm looking
My
at the
problem
silhouettes.
Is that the PvP one and the raid one looks too much alike?
they
Well,
all
yeah,
look
but
the
you, I
fucking
mean,
No,
same.
that's
the
just like what they're
lavender.
always doing nowadays.
I
It's
know,
So
like-
I
but like,
kinda do
they
like
didn't
the-
always do that. They used to
Well,
have like
yeah.
separate looking transmog
Yeah, yeah.
for PvP.
Yeah,
And
they would have
kinda-
different.
I kind of like
And
the
I
low
think-
fantasy look on this one and the colorization anyway. But I do hear what Shawnee's saying.
Yeah, I
is
can
that
see
it used to be the PvP gear had their own like tier set basically.
All right, thumbs.
I think the mage is one of the better ones, but it's still not great.
This one I like.
Okay, whatever.
Monk.
Terrible.
I like the
look-
oxes.
Might look
The
cool on a
The
Kultiran.
silhouette looks outrageous.
It does.
It's just
Yeah, but
horns and horns and
I-
horns. It's
And
just-
I agree with you, Scrap. What I don't get is I've seen some Warlock ones and I've seen some like Demon Hunter ones that people love, and then they look the same silhouette. And I'm just like, what? So like,
I don't like the silhouette with like that. It's just like horns on the shoulder, horns. It's not good.
Yeah,
many
Yeah.
how horns you
Stop.
need.
But I mean, imagine just
Very hard.
like again, I'm looking at the shoulders. Imagine just the shoulders. Like use that in another transmog of some sort.
Ugh, you can't. Leather is always bad for me. Oh, sorry. I didn't
You're
finish
almost
one.
about to do it. You're almost about to do it.
I didn't
All
do
right,
it.
thumbs up, thumbs down. This one's a down.
Down.
I'll give
This
this
is one of the worst
half
ones.
because like if you could get rid of the shoulders and helmet, I think it you could.
Yeah, I guess
transmog
yeah.
other
There's some
stuff.
good other
I
stuff.
agree.
in there.
I like the
Yeah,
belt, but
okay.
I still down. It's one of the worst ones.
I still think
belt-
I think without the
belt-
hat, it's.
Why is he wearing his belt
That's
on his
terrible.
knee on both pants? Well, on both
Yeah, it's kind of
knees?
low riding.
It's the same thing. No, I'm saying the belt is replicated identically on the knees. Why?
Yeah, that's what they
Why
always
do
do.
you need
It's
a
no good.
waistband on the fucking kneecaps?
I
That's
don't
how you
think
know
that's
they
a
go
waistband.
together.
I think it's just like a ring that's holding. You haven't seen
Okay,
that
Frank.
Marvel
Yeah, why do
movie?
you have rings there?
Paladin.
Everybody
Oh.
hates this one, right?
Holy shit.
I absolutely hate it.
The wings are so stupid.
Stupid.
They're like
Stupid.
they're from a completely different game. This is
Yeah.
not World of Warcraft fantasy. This is like an alien from outer space with wings.
If you're
I don't
gonna
get
do
it.
wings, they should be ginormous.
The
No,
only
they're too
thing.
Also,
big.
yeah, exactly. You're also
No,
not moving
these are
around
way
these
too
wings.
small. They're like
Okay. Take the wings out, right?
Even
And
with the wings
you
out?
assume you're transmogging into another set of shoulders. I am looking at I think the helm looks pretty cool, and with the rest of the armor, maybe.
You don't
Maybe
play
the
a
gold one.
Worgen or a
Doesn't even look like
Tauren.
plate.
no, that
Is
purple.
Doesn't even look like
That
it's
purple's
plate.
shit though.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
not,
there's
I'm
no
not
saving
feeling
it.
at
I don't
all.
think there's any saving it.
The wings, they're just like in such a static position. They
Well,
look
they
like
get
so
the wings
heavy
out of
and
there.
useless.
It is
And
a,
the
it is
priest
a
one is
still
cool.
Scrap,
image. Yeah.
motherfucker! I swear to God.
Cut it out.
No, I'm leaving it in.
Leave it in. Leave it in. I don't care. What's with the green
Thumbs up,
of the
thumbs down.
paladin? Why is it green? Down.
It gets
This
it
is the
down.
worst
the
one.
biggest thumbs down. I don't even have
Yep.
thumbs for that
Yeah.
one. It's so
Yeah.
This
down.
is the worst one by a mile.
Priest.
Priest one's sick. I like it.
Okay.
No.
I feel
like-
like it's such a distinction between the heroic and mythic that it looks like an entirely different set.
And then the heroic and normal look the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
The raid
Shadow
finder and
Priest will
normal,
be
I
very
think, are
happy.
more
Yeah,
priesty
the shadow one is really cool, but the rest is kind of too samey. But I like the silhouette. You know what I'm looking at for the most part is the silhouette, and I think this one looks pretty good, pretty cool.
Hmm.
What do you? I'm
Thumbs
not
up,
saying
thumbs
it.
down.
a
I'll give
little-
it a slight thumbs up. I think this is the best one, but it's okay.
Okay. Rogue.
I think it's pretty cool.
Looks kind of like a raven,
You know what it reminds me of is the Soul Traders from Outland.
Wow, look at the
which will be
raid
heavily
finder set.
featured, I think, in the expansion.
Okay,
I
good.
actually
good.
think I like
looks
the
good then.
colors of the raid finder better than the other one.
This gives me more Nerubian vibes than
Mm.
any of the other ones. Like, it's the red one's sick, the PvP one. This rogues are winning in this one. Don't scroll down. I'm gonna comment on it.
All right, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
Thumbs slightly up.
Oh, Shawnee's excited.
Yeah,
I'm
Shawnee
super
would be
excited that I
excited.
chose to play a rogue because
Yep.
so far everything else looks like
What?
trash.
Good call. All right,
I
technique.
take it back. Oh, sorry, go on.
Well, technique. Thumbs
agree.
up, thumbs down.
On the rogue, bleh.
Okay.
Fuck off with the rogue.
Shaman.
I take it back. This is the worst one.
What
This
the
is right.
I
fuck
kind of like
is
the helmet.
going
I
on?
like
Fucking
that's
stupid
pretty
rock
impressive
hanging over your
helmet.
head. What the
I think it's
hell?
like- I think it's like a
Rock,
water
that's like a
droplet.
elemental. Yeah, it's like a water element.
Even
I like
worse.
that.
Stupid. Look how
I
big it
kinda like it.
is.
Especially if it moves, if it's got some
Look
fluidity.
how high
It
above
looks
the
like it
head
does.
it
It looks like it
is.
does.
I think
Oh my
it's
God, I
think
hate
it's
it.
new. It's something we haven't seen before. I kind of like it. I'm gonna give that one my
I,
number one
yeah,
spot
but the
so
mythic
far.
one
I
I
hate
don't
the
get.
shoulders.
I'm not gonna want the mythic one at all. Maybe the heroic,
Maybe if it's got
That's
some
the only one I
different
get.
like graphic or something going on.
The
in
colors are
mythic
way
one.
too samey on this one.
Yeah,
Oh
look
my
at this
God.
one. Jesus.
Dude, I can't even tell the difference between those three.
Just like
All right,
shit stained
thumbs.
water
Oh.
versus
Yeah.
regular
Well,
water.
here you go, Scrap.
Thumbs.
Warlock.
Down-ish.
Downish.
I'm
Down.
gonna give him two. I'm gonna give
It's
it
the
up.
worst
I'm
one.
gonna
The
give it
helmet,
thumbs up.
the
Okay.
helmet, I give it way down, and the shoulders look god awful. What kind of fucking shape is that?
Yeah, I don't like the
You
shoulders.
can't
at all.
move your arms up and go right into your head. You know, like.
No,
Warlock.
they protect your head. You like close them in like that.
And these
I
hands
hate-
move.
I think it's sick because I like that the warlock is taking from like some of the other demons, you know, and
They
we
need
haven't
to
seen
fix the
any inspired by
male
this
chest
demon.
piece. He's like wearing a bra. It's a little weird.
I think you should wear
They're
a bra.
they're into that sort of thing, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say that demon wears like a bra. So
I like the normal one. I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't,
I
but
do
I like
too.
it.
I think the normal one's the better one of those.
this is one of the
I
cooler
just-
ones.
I
I would
hate
take
the
the hand
helmet.
size down. The helmet is terrible. I mean, I never wear a helmet because I play a fucking Tauren. So
Don't like the raid finder color.
yeah.
No arms
Wait,
on it
the
either.
PvP one. Okay, yeah, the PvP ones are cool.
Eh.
I think this one of the better ones. I'll give it slightly thumbs up.
All right, Shawnee.
It's like
Mid.
the slightest bit. 'cause
Twitch,
actually,
Twitch.
Like,
Technique.
At least it looks
On the one
Nerubian.
hand, I'm glad that Warlocks don't have a great set. On the other hand, Warlocks don't have a great set here.
I think it's
I
fine.
think without the helm it would be pretty cool, but I just that helm. Ugh.
The shoulders and everything, it looks a bit more Nerubian.
Warrior.
Nope,
This is
not it.
ass.
Total ass.
This feels like a tier 3, like from like
This looks like a
Max
leveling
Ramus.
armor.
It looks like
Yeah,
a
it sucks.
panda armor.
The
where
shoulders and helmet, man. Give me a fucking break. Actually, the armor doesn't look terrible. Looks like he might be a little bit cold. You know, he's got some plate on.
Why is it so
Nerubian.
damn white? Like
But
all
bro.
three of these are so
You
pale.
notice how like all the armors have like stupid appendages off the helmets and shoulders for most.
They've
of them.
always done that since the very beginning. You know,
It's
since
really-
the shoulders matches the helmet, matches the shoulder, and they're big and stupid. Like, come on.
It looks
You
terrible.
don't like this guy's mustache on his red mustache
No,
on the
man.
white.
I love the mustache, but I hate putting a head on the shoulders. I know they do that a lot, but it's just
I
like
think earthen
what?
themed or whatever.
I'm over it.
All right. Last thoughts on the tier set. Technique, kick us off.
I'm just glad that I'm going to play a warrior and look like ass this season. No big
And you're
deal.
going to grow 5% larger for all of us to see that ass.
I will be
Absolutely.
transmogging out of these sets.
Shawnee.
For sure.
I was just gonna say with Scrap's got like I'm glad I got other stuff I can wear.
Yeah.
Like I will be
Mm.
transmugging. I'll probably do it for a little bit, maybe just to see if it grows on me. But like
Well,
As of
you were
now.
playing Rogue, though. I thought you liked that one.
I do, but I still have other rogue transmogs that I think are far superior.
All right, before I let Scrap talk, I actually am excited about the Mage one, but the problem is, am I even going to play a Mage this season? I don't know. So, I like the Mage one, but
You
Are
have
you
to
even
have the
playing a
shitty
Mage this
Paladin
season?
one.
no, that Paladin one, I would, if they if they didn't have transmog and I had to wear that, I would
Dude, it's
definitely not play Paladin.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, it's embarrassing.
All right, Scrap, bring this point
Okay,
home.
I do want to say that I am an artist, I'm a working artist, so I tend to have opinions, and generally my opinions is the art team is doing the best job out of any other team. I feel like I'm shitting on all of these. I want to say there's not a single tier in Dragonflight where I didn't think at least 2 of the sets were complete fucking bangers. Like,
Yeah.
I think Dragonflight had some really fucking cool armor. Like, and for the most part, there was nothing that I was like, oh, terrible. Like, it was stuff that's like, oh, average, and mostly positive thumbs up. These, I think, are suffering from what I was talking about last week, where I feel like War Within doesn't have a strong identity, doesn't have a strong thematic identity. And I kind of feel that vibe. Like, all of these are so, like, they don't look like they're from the same tier. They have such bizarre, like, they don't, there's nothing conjoining them together. Like, when you think of, like, Dragonflight, like, tier 1, everything was kind of Razagath-y, kind of thundery and stuff. And tier 2, everything had these really strong dragon thematics to it. Think of like BFA, like the last season, everything was kind of old gaudy. Nothing. What's conjoining all of these? They don't even look remotely Nerubian.
Tusks. Everyone's got tusks.
Yeah, and we've been.
What are we
They're better
fighting here?
animals with tusks in this expansion, because otherwise, like, what the fuck kind of bottom of the barrel are they scraping out here? Like, what? Why did? And I will say, like, with WoW, their design philosophy for armor, it always seems to be like, big shoulders and helmet, and that kind of defines the rest of the outfit. So having a really strong, bold silhouette kind of fits the cartoony style. Everything has like this bold silhouette. These have really muddy silhouettes, man. And I'm just looking at the warrior one. I can't hardly tell what's going on. Like, the colors are muddy and the silhouettes are just like horns sticking out of shit. So I feel like this is a really weak start to War Within, and I do feel like they need to find some sort of thematic identity. Like, why didn't they make them all like crazy Nerubian?
Do
If it's
you
a
think
Nerubian
that
raid.
this is enough of a reason to think that the entire art season 1 is a concern, or is it just like, okay,
No,
like
I would not say
remember that
that.
set from the I like the Hollow Fall area, like, the leveling set. It looked awesome, right? Like the
It
plate
was
one.
so cool. The Dragonflight leveling set.
No.
the
I'm talking
first
about the one that's coming in War
Oh.
Within. There's like
Oh, I haven't seen it.
I'll put it on the screen here in a second, but
Yeah, pull it up.
there's a let me get it for you. But it looked really good. Here, set. I'll put it there, see if that gets it. Yeah, outdoor Wrathor armor. That's it. And you can
That
see
looks
here,
awesome.
right? Like, that looks good. I'll
love the
put it on
helmet.
the screen for the people at home.
Yeah, see, I'm assuming that more time goes into these because it's like
Look at the
all
plate
leather,
one.
all plate. Yeah, that
That's
looks
great.
fucking awesome. That looks like some shit from Dark Souls
there's
3.
good art in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This looks really
Um,
good. The tier sets are dog shit, and I hope
I-
that they
I
didn't
think
mean
maybe-
to do that.
I think they're maybe a bit strung out. Like, it's got to be hard designing a completely
I'm
new
sure it's
set.
impossible.
Yeah, for each thing that looks like a hunter would wear, like that doesn't look like anything before. I honestly would be happier if they did less sets. Like I like there just being like a plate, a cloth, a leather, a mail. Like
Well, it's
that's
a shame too now because
fine
everyone's just
by
transmogging
me.
out of them usually.
Yeah. So you're coming to the point where it's like there's always gonna be a couple sets that just look like not great because I'm sure the art team is really overworked. Trying to chug out like how many classes are there? I don't even know.
What I
Classes
don't
Maybe.
want
is
to see though
15 to
is them
14.
taking this approach like they've done with a lot of the content. Like, oh well, we want to spend the most time developing the content that a lot of people are playing, and
Yeah.
we want a lot of people to play the content that we're developing. So what I don't want to see is like, oh, we want the cool looking armor to be on everyone, and
Yeah.
we're just going to spend less time on the stuff that the raiders get. That would suck. I
No,
hope
it
that's
it
not the
it does
approach.
it does suck, but I think I would rather have less sets that are awesome than more sets that feel rushed or like, just
I
not
agree
as
with
good.
that. Fewer sets overall, sure.
Fewer
Well,
sets overall.
hold on. So you're saying, okay, like what would a good ratio be for good to bad sets to say like, oh,
I
that
mean,
set's awesome?
I'm totally well.
Like
Well,
if
I
you
don't
had one
know.
in expansion,
No, I mean, I don't want to see any bad sets. Like, is
well,
that
yeah,
especially
but
like we could have sets like I think in Dragonflight there weren't. I can't think of any bad sets. Of course, maybe they're not
there were a
memorable. There
couple.
weren't classes I played, but I would say even the worst ones were like okay. Like I didn't think they were muddy and the silhouettes were bad, and they didn't have any kind of thematic like joining to it. I mean, I remember some bad ones in Shadowlands, but in Dragonflight,
Well,
I
Shadowlands
didn't
didn't
think
have tier
so.
sets until the last
No, I mean
one.
just armor sets. Armor
Yeah.
sets. Bad armor sets in
That's my
Shadowlands.
problems. Like the tier sets at least have some class identity to them, whereas the
Yeah.
other than the one that we just talked about, like I usually don't like any of the leveling sets. Like they could even be decent, but they're still not anywhere
Yeah.
close. So when they announced tier sets were coming back, I was so pumped just for the fact that there was some, even if it was like 3 of them are gonna be bad, but there'll be one that's like, oh shit, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like the mage one that they came out with the time hat, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like,
Oh, I love that. I
you
love
could give me
that
you could give me
hat.
3 of the paladin sets. If I get that once in a while, I'm gonna be happy because I'm gonna transmog into it and stay in it for a while anyways.
Here's what I think they're missing, and I keep saying it over and over again, is like thematic identity.
Yeah.
Like they
Even
need if that's gonna be a Nerubian raid, there's so much visual like style to how Nerubian
Spiderwebs
buildings
everywhere.
look, how Nerubians dress. Like, we've been in these Nerubian areas for 10 years, and none of those items even remotely like reflect Nerubian
So
stylistic
would you be okay with it if they were all
choices.
bad as equally as bad, even though they might be different if they were Nerubian themed?
I would prefer if they were themed. I think if they were themed, they would be less bad because it would be like, oh, what do we do with this paladin? We put big stupid wings on it because paladins have wings. Like, it's just
What if
like
they draped
we already
webs
have.
all over the wings?
Well, I think they drape like wraps all over the wings because they're mummies. I guess Nerubians are kind of like they'll have some
Yeah.
mummy vibes to them. But like it's so fucking weird. I mean, here's what my dream would be like, and I think it's fair and obtainable. Is like these leveling sets. Like for raid, we have like a plate set, a cloth set, a mail set, whatever. And then maybe like one item that's different for everybody. Like the mages might get a big hat that fits in, or like warriors get like bigger shoulders than other plate things, but it would be like the same clothes.
Like a decent shield for the first
Yep.
time in 60 years.
Yeah, and the weapons, of course, define that too. And then the last raid, like the third raid, that's when everybody gets a really good tier set.
Like, can I ask a favor of you, Scrap? And
Sure,
Shauna,
go
you can
on.
partake in this too, since you're an artist as well. Can you
It's gonna
design
include
a
work,
new
I'm not gonna do
paladin?
it.
Can you design a new paladin tier set for us? Based on a Nerubian theme?
I'm talking a lot of shit. Oh, based on Nerubian theme.
It could be a sketch.
I really don't have time right now.
It doesn't have to be very thorough.
Right.
You could just give us a quick draft.
I would have
Okay,
like I won't lie, I'd have to see like.
Well, you're opening a store, so in fairness, like you're busy.
No, but like even if I did it, because it's for the podcast,
I'll describe to you what I do.
No. I want to see what you do. You're
but
saying
it takes so
just
much
make
time to make
everyone
it
a
look
banger.
good. No,
you
here's what I would do. Like Nerubians, undead spiders. That's what I think about. Webs, shit like that. I would bring in like some like the spider legs as like ribbing to the plate.
Show
like,
me what that would look like.
Fucking dude, it's not easy to do that. It takes a lot of time.
And yet you're sitting there throwing stones saying, well, quick, give me shit ones.
I'm
Well,
just, yeah,
I
but
guess
that's their
that's
job. Yeah, I have a job already.
Your
I have a
podcast
full-time
is this
job.
job. You know that.
Absolutely fucking not, dude. I'm busy, man. I
Sorry,
have a full-time
viewers.
job.
All right, let's put a bow on it. Shawnee, wrap it up for us.
The tier sets. It's sad that the tier sets are so bad compared to this leveling set for Pally. Seeing this
Yeah.
almost makes me want to go back and be like, no, I'm playing a Pally. It looks great.
Yeah, the leveling set looks great.
It looks phenomenal. And if I was a Pally, this would be what I'd wear the whole expansion. The gold one
100%.
is fire. Like, oh my goodness.
I like that blue one for my warrior.
Yeah,
I do too.
Sick. Like,
but like all of them are great. Like the middle one, the red and the white, gives me like Scarlet Monastery vibes.
yeah.
Just and the little crown, like the mat. It's everything
And
about
like,
that set's
like,
great.
stand back. Look at the silhouette of that one.
The male sets look great, dude. Look.
Yeah,
at the
and they
set.
almost never make good male sets. That male set
yeah.
looks
Well,
cool.
and
even the leather
bishop
ones,
Samurai,
they all,
the cloth looks great.
Yeah, they all look great.
But yeah, but
If I
this
was
just
a
goes to
priest,
yeah.
So we're all down bad on the tier sets, but there's still some little hope in there in these guys. Okay.
I mean, it's fine. I don't want to shit in the art team.
Sets are better.
Yeah.
I hope that Scrap you do find some musing to draw, and Shawnee, if you get the time, please. Just like again, it can be a very rough sketch.
I'll do mine too.
I will.
Yeah,
My
Technique, I would actually like yours more than theirs.
Yeah, let's see yours.
My last note to it is, I know it's not the same game, but like Diablo 4, they are selling transmog, so they probably put a little more effort into it in a sense.
Yeah.
But like they definitely have. I've bought one of the transmog sets, and it was $30, and I've worn that every season since.
I'll be honest though, I didn't like a lot of the sets. I haven't looked at all of them. But when I was playing season 1, I didn't like them that much.
And stuff, but like I think they're putting when they're doing their desert sets, all the sets have this like deserty feel, like Scrap saying. I feel.
Yeah,
like,
it has to have that in my opinion.
I totally agree with the thematic comments you made.
Yeah.
Like, there's not much going on in those.
Or
tier
like
sets,
these
and there
tier
really
sets
should
to
be.
me have like a little bit like, because I was just looking at some art from it from like Warhammer 40k.
Oh,
feel
these
to the
look
tier
very
sets.
Warhammer 40k. These kind of because they have kind of like a priesty,
Yeah,
like
the
warrior
Battle
priest vibe.
Sisters.
Yeah, Battle
Yeah.
Sister. The red and white definitely screams Warhammer to me. The red,
But I
gold,
really
white.
like how all the sets also feel connected. Like they don't like this priest one. You could be like, if they were running with a paladin, you'd be like, they're in the same.
So the problem is that the theme is missing. Not that they're shit, but the theme's
That
missing.
or we're missing
It's
the theme because we haven't done the raid yet. So maybe it is just a bunch of mammoth tusks going around.
Like even then, the gear is like just the way they did the art for it. I'm not like.
Yeah, the Pally one feels like it's a little rezzed missing, you know. All right, but anyways, we got to wrap this up. So I got a question of the week for y'all from our Discord. Now that we've seen all the Dragonflight raid bosses one last time, which boss from the entire expansion was your number 1 favorite?
Oh, can I go first? It's a quick answer.
Before you think, if you have any more questions you'd like to ask us, get in our Discord or mythicdungeonleague@gmail.com. Please send us your questions. All right, Scrap. I'm going to let you go first this time.
Razageth. I love Razageth.
Okay.
That's
what
it.
about
That's
it? What about it stands out as like the reason why it's number 1?
The pacing of the phasing is really good. Like the way the last phase is so chaotic, but it's so fast, and people are just dying left and right. Like you have to start sacrificing yourself.
Well,
but it's quick.
Well.
It's what?
Not if we're playing well.
Well, no, but it's just like the quick of like we kill her or she kills us. It's happening right now. And also just like big giant dragon. She's blowing us around. She's breathing fire. It had everything. Razageth is a badass. She's super cool. And yeah, no, just the pacing of the fight with that last phase where everything is just like it's now or she's gonna kill us, and it's so fast. I loved it.
It's a great fight. Sean?
Great fight.
Farrakh? Yeah,
That was
another great. Yeah.
That was my favorite. I just enjoyed that there was multiple things for multiple people to do.
And it didn't feel that long either.
No, it didn't. Which is always.
But did it feel epic like Razageth?
It did when we beat it, because I was like, "Are we ever gonna beat this?"
It's not my number 1, but both Farrakh and Razageth were like top 3 with me. I love them both. I would say equally. Technique.
There's whatever the dude's name is where you fly. He's a druid and you fly.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, T-Swift.
T-Swift.
Yeah.
That was a good fight, yeah. What about it that stood out to you as your favorite?
Just being unique with the different platforms, being able to get on your mount and fly
They
around.
use Dragonflight correctly.
I love that too.
I like the multiple different tank mechanics. There's a couple things you got to do differently in that fight as a tank that you don't have to do in many other fights. It's not just a simple tank swap. It's not just it was unique in that there was a lot of tank coordination there.
So my number one is because of the tanking experience was very unique, and I don't know because Technique, you did the exact opposite of the fight for me, but Blood Mother Diarma, the egg boss lady.
2 different jobs. I like that.
Love that fight.
That's a fun
because
fight.
as a
It's
tank,
simple.
I am doing so much, and not only am I moving the boss throughout the room, which had a coordinated dance to it, but also I had to destroy the eggs as I go and talk to the 2 other people who were destroying eggs with me. Like, even though we were wiping on that the first time we did it, like, countless times because, like, someone wasn't doing the egg correctly or I fucked up. It's just like at no point did I feel like I was frustrated. I was like, oh, I want to learn this and I want to do it.
I like that fight.
I want them to keep that design philosophy in mind because in Dragonflight I realize I really like fights that have a dance that once you get the dance it feels really good. Like the second boss of Ruby Life Pools. Like once you figure out like when you're putting your feet in what places, it's like, oh my god, it's easy now, and I think that boss too, like it was a coordination fight, and I think that's important. Can I give a runner up?
I was gonna ask you, Scrap. I was like, I'm surprised you didn't give. Yeah, Spider Boss.
Spider Boss. I loved the slipping around. It was so fun. It was like Mario platformer vibes. It wasn't super hard, but every now and then you get caught with your pants down and slip off the edge, and it felt good. That one of my favorite bosses of all time.
Any other honorable mentions from you two?
No.
I gotta agree with the mentality of like the Broodkeeper or whatever the title. Like it does feel really good when the tanks are doing more than just swapping.
Yeah.
And having 2 different jobs and we can kind of be our own team. I do like that as well.
Yeah,
I just
you guys
realized
were,
as we're talking,
your own teams.
I just realized as we were talking that I have not clipped the Twitch from last night where we didn't taunt swap correctly.
I thought you were about to say you weren't recording, bro. I was like, okay, well.
No, I'm recording. Speaking of which, though, to make sure the computer doesn't shut off and lose everything like we did last week, let's go on and wrap things up. Before we do, I want to just speak on it one more time. MythicDungeonLeague.com. Go there to join our Discord. Go there to find our Twitch, which is MDL Frank, at twitch.tv MDL Frank. And you can see our podcast. You can see all our games that we've hosted there and catch up with anything else that we've done in the past. We'd love to have you as part of our community. And of course, once War Within comes out, we're going to build a guild so you can join that as well, as Scrap is demanding that I pay for everyone's repairs.
As long as you pay for repairs, I'll be there.
Yep. All right. I appreciate today's talk. I'm really looking forward to next week's video. I'm not going to spoil it, but I am so excited to hear everyone's takes. And we'll be back next Wednesday. But until then, I'm Frank. Technique, any last words?
No, man. Had a good chat. Loved it. Thank you.
Scrap?
Nope, good time.
Our team sucks. We got it. Shawnee?
I want to say, I think our team is doing the work of they're doing the best work. So,
Yes.
I mean, with peace and love, these are my critiques as an artist, and I'm sorry.
Sure. Shawnee?
Just have a great day.
Yeah. All right. Enjoy D4, enjoy Kata, enjoy MoP, enjoy retail. Until next week, we'll see y'all later. Thanks for listening. Take care.
Bye.